Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there's a form that is down in the description of this live stream right now. I've got, I think, because I just cleared it, there's one question in there. So if you get your question in there right now, then it will get answered here today. So there's a form right down in the description right now. Go put your question in there if you have one, and it will get answered on the show today. So first off, I just want to say I hope everybody had a fantastic week. Hope everybody, published a video. Hope everything's going great for the content that you published. Hope that you are excited to learn something today about YouTube. Hopefully you'll walk away from this today with a little bit more knowledge about YouTube and, some good things that you can do with your YouTube channel. And hopefully, you just enjoy hanging out and, just getting the information and having it, penetrate your brain, so to speak. And I also want to let you know that today's live stream, just like it is every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, today's stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy has 90 different tools. A lot of people think that TubeBuddy is just like a keyword explorer or that it just helps you come up with video ideas, but it has 90 different tools to help you with your YouTube channel. You can try TubeBuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin and see what TubeBuddy can do for you. In addition to that, this stream is brought to you by StreamYard, which is the live streaming software that I use to stream this every single Saturday. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because, one, it's really easy and I like easy things. Two is they do all the heavy lifting for me. So it doesn't, tax my computer because I got all this like hardware I'm running and stuff too. And because of that, it just makes the stream really easy on my computer. It allows me to be able to pull graphics onto the screen like you can see right here in a really easy way. They even have it with videos. Superchat, where you can add videos now, like the one that I just showed you, just at a click of a button. In addition to that, it makes it really easy to bring on guests. So if you are a live streamer that brings guests onto your show, then you definitely want to check out StreamYard because it makes the whole process seamless and really easy for you. And more importantly, easy for your guests that you're going to be, having onto your show. So you can try that out at StreamYard.com, or of course, I got links to both of those down in the description below. I also want to let you know that in addition to those things, you may or may not know that I also have a website myself called tubertools.com. And on tubertools.com during the live stream today and 24 hours, because I'm going to let the replay, go out a little bit and things like that. But for the next 24 hours, just as a heads up, if there's anything that you want off of tubertools.com, the front end store of it, if there's anything that you want there, if you use the coupon code LIVE now, all one word, just live now, then it will cut your cart in half when you go to checkout. So if there's anything that you've wanted from Tuber Tools, now's the time to get it during the stream today. And as you are checking out, just make sure you use the coupon code live now, and then it will reduce your cart by 50%. So just make sure that you do that. If there's anything that you've wanted from the site, but you're like, I don't know, not quite there yet, but I figured I would just go ahead and pass that along to you guys, just for, especially you early birds that are hanging in here and hear me say that. I'll hear it, or I'll say it a few more times, throughout the stream and whatnot. But, especially for those of you that, hang out here early, because, I know there's a lot of people that show up here every single Saturday. And I know that, a lot of you, this is like, one of the first places that you come to on YouTube on a Saturday. And I appreciate that. So, so I just want to hook you up there with that discount if there is anything that you want over there. Now, I'm ready to get this party started, ready to start answering some questions. We got a few questions coming in now to the forum, which is fantastic. And before we get into that forum, though, really quick, I do want to give a thank you to Romantic is the YouTube channel name, and they gave a super chat here before the live stream. So thank you, Romantic. They say enjoy and utilize all of your advice. Thanks for all the help. My pleasure, Romantic. I'm glad that you are enjoying the content. And we got another one here from Tinkerman Nick, who also he crossed 100,000 subscribers recently on his YouTube channel. He's just crushing it with shorts over on his channel. But he says, just wanted to say you're a champion, Nick. Thanks for everything. P.S. Love your backdrop. Thank you, Mick. I appreciate it, man. And keep on crushing, dude. You are just rocking. And in addition to that, I'm sure he's not going to be hanging out here in the stream today because it is his birthday. But Roger Wakefield, who is also, a regular here in the community, he also has a birthday as well. So Roger, happy birthday to you. High five and fist bump to you. And I hope that you enjoy your birthday. I also want to say, I got all kinds of stuff coming out today. I also want to say, what's up, Tom Nash? Hope that you're awesome, man. Hope you're doing fantastic. So Brad over at Magic Flying Potato, he also crossed 1,000 subscribers here recently as well. So high five and fist bump to you, man. Love seeing you cross those milestones as well. I love it when everybody crosses a milestone. Like whenever, I read the comments. Absolutely, I read the comments. Not only do I read the comments, let's see here. So who was it that said that? Began with a T. Themich Fox. Yes, I absolutely read the comments. Sometimes I can't get all of them. Just because, like as everybody's going, like I'm having to read them plus manage the stream and stuff. But I definitely try to stay engaged in the comments as much as I possibly can. How's my living? What's up? Hope that you're doing fantastic today. Albie-tastic, nice to see you in here as well. Mike Claps, good morning to you. Beanie Draws, what's up, man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Scully's House of Thrillers, what is up? Hope you're doing great. All right, so we are just going to go ahead and get this party started today, and we're going to go ahead and just start just diving in and just go ahead and start answering some questions. What do you guys think about that? If that sounds good, go ahead and give this a thumbs up right now. So as we get into these, so the very first question, and I'm pulling this from the form, and again, there's a link to this form down in the description below. But the very first question here is from Creaky Blinder. Creaky Blinder says that they do commentary and reaction content. The goal of the channel is to entertain people. And the question is, I'm at a crossroads with my channel and I'm trying to cast my net wider than I ever have. But every time I see views drop off, I panic and I go back to what's grown my channel so far. What ideas do you have to help me come over this or to overcome this self-doubt? So when it comes to YouTube, it's actually smart to know the content that typically performs good on your channel or performs well on your channel so that you can make sure that you are putting that content out, on a regular basis as well, so that you are giving the viewers what they come to you for, right? So that part is really important. So when you do notice your views dropping and you are putting out the stuff that you know is going to perform, that's actually a really smart thing to do, and you're actually taking the right approach. So that's a good thing. However, the panic side is not. So because of that, when it comes to YouTube, and this is a really important thing for everybody to know. What's up, Bobby Drone? This is a really important thing for everybody to know is that, when you are publishing to YouTube, there's so much going on in terms of the system itself, in terms of things that are happening in the real world that can impact your views, in terms of, the seasonality, in terms of, hey, there's a lot of people on YouTube right now versus there's not a lot of people on YouTube, at this point in time. So, as an example, we're getting ready to, we're actually at the very start of where YouTube viewership starts, kind of ramping up. So, this last quarter of the year, every single year, more people are, interacting with YouTube. And in addition to that, your ad rates climb and things like that, because there's a lot more people advertising on YouTube for the holidays as we start approaching the holidays and that sort of thing. And just because of the raised viewership in general. So like right now, as we are, moving into, slowly moving into, Q4 of this year, this is the time. So, just take your channel extremely seriously here over the next few months, because, this is it's kind of like prime time, so to speak, on YouTube. I mean, it's always good on YouTube. They have over 2 billion monthly logged in users, which is incredible. So it's always good on YouTube. But in terms of, everything, just like you're saying with your views, how they kind of go up and down and whatnot. So, viewership on YouTube is similar. So because of that, I just want to let everybody here know that's hanging out that, we're getting ready to move into that kind of, we'll just call it busy time. I don't know what else to call it. So we'll just call it busy time, here on YouTube. So if there's ever a time to take your channel seriously, it's always, but especially here Q4. So Tinkerman Mick also says, what is your favorite coffee? I love a latte with 2 sugars. Me, I do a Americano almost always. So I started with a, and we'll get into the YouTube stuff here in a second, and I'm going to continue answering this question here as well from Creaky Blinder. But basically, for me, I started with doing like caramel macchiatos. I didn't even used to drink coffee, but then I started drinking caramel macchiatos to kind of pick me up, and I was like, wow, this is like really picking me up. No wonder everybody drinks this stuff. And then I looked into, you know, how much sugar and all that stuff is in those. So I was like, okay, we got to start backing that off. So then I changed to the Americano, but then I had them put in like a lot of milk and a lot of sugar. So I was pretty much just creating the same thing, but, you know, minus a few things. And because of that, I was like, okay, this still isn't good. So then I started trimming it down. Now I am all black Americanos or just straight black coffee, you know, one of the two, depending on, you know, what it is, where I'm getting it and what it is that I'm making the coffee in. So, so that's what it's like. You know, that's the coffee preference for me. But back on the question here, in terms of, you know, like how many people here panic? Like when you start noticing, and be honest, when you start noticing that, you know, hey, my views are, you know, starting to, you know, my views are starting to go down. How many of you are like, you know, oh God, is this it? Is it over? Like what's going on? You know, did I screw something up? Is YouTube mad at me? Like, you know, how many people, you know, take that approach in terms of, you know, if you notice that your view count is down? What's up, Renee? Hope you're doing awesome, man. Adoption with Nairi. Nice to see you in here. But basically, like a really important thing to understand about YouTube, like I mentioned before, is one, that, you know, you do have those ups and downs, and that's, you know, kind of a normal thing. And those ups and downs are going to be based around the things that I talked about a second ago, but they can also be based around just your content decisions. So, you know, sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off, sometimes you make good decisions, sometimes you make bad decisions, sometimes you're lazy, sometimes you're a little bit more motivated, and you'll put a little bit more effort and time into what it is that you're doing in order to make sure and ensure that it's a fantastic piece of content. Other times, you know, you'll cut corners. And, you know, things like that. So, you know, everything kind of, you know, has this going to it. So, you know, because of that, you know, don't panic. If you notice things are going down, don't panic. What you want to do is you want to go in, you want to say, okay, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go in, and if things are down, I'm going to go in and see if I can figure out why they are down. So did I have like a high performing video on my channel that was bringing in tons of views, and then now that one's not bringing in as many views anymore? Is it that I had like a set of videos that are bringing a lot of views, now they are not anymore? Is it that when I publish new content now that, you know, just the things that I'm making videos about, just my audience isn't responding, you know, well enough to them? If that's the case, then, you know, then you have that data behind it where you can say, okay, well, this is the thing that, you know, people seem to want more from me. So I'll just keep walking down that path. But within that, you know, it's really important. Like in your case, you're like, you know, what do you have? What ideas do you have to help me overcome this doubt? Is on YouTube, you want to make sure that you are making the content that people enjoy and that they come to you for, but the big wins happen through experimentation. So if you're like, you know, hey, I've got these videos out and people are enjoying them, and when I put out this, you know, specific content, people really dig it. But then you're like, hey, I published this video and they don't seem to like it that much. It's still getting views, but it just doesn't get as many views as, you know, as I'm used to. Just look at that as, you know, hey, some of my content's going to get more views than other of my content. That's just the nature of, you know, everything. But in addition to that, when it comes to, you know, thinking like, hey, I want to experiment and try something a little bit different. You know, I'm still making content for the same audience, for the same type of viewer. However, I want to do something a little bit different. I'm getting kind of, you know, I'm just getting kind of bored of making the content that I'm making right now. And when that happens, experiment, you know, make something different. And then if you notice like, hey, this is really having a, you know, this is really starting to, you know, have like a negative impact here, then that's where it's like, okay, those things that I know work, you know, based on your statement here, those things that I know work, that they always respond to, I'm going to make a few of those videos so that I can, you know, be like, all right, okay, we're recharging here, you know, for the course of these few videos, and then we're going to go back into experimentation mode again. So that's what I recommend that you do in order to get around that. And I saw your comment here as well, saying that you suffer from imposter syndrome. So that's so common. Like I interact with a lot of, you know, high performing people when it comes to, you know, like this stuff. And a lot of people, even people that, you know, that you watch on a regular basis, sometimes even myself, like, you know, sometimes I'll go to speak at a conference, right? And I'll be up there and I'll be like, you know what? You know, there's, you know, always people that are smarter than me. So because of that, I'm thinking like, you know, like they should get somebody else to have this conversation, even though, you know, you guys know that I know what I'm talking about. It's still one of those things that, you know, you always have those things creeping up in the back of your head. And then you just have to identify it and be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And just kind of, you know, check yourself and be like, you know, what are you talking about? You know, you do know what you're talking about. That's why you're here in the first place, you know, type of thing. So when it comes to that imposter syndrome, don't look at it as, like, oh my gosh, like I shouldn't be doing this. Just look at it like, okay, this is a feeling that I'm getting from, doing this thing. But if I'm doing this thing, there's a really good chance that, that I'm, if I'm doing it, then I clearly know, how to do it. So because of that, I'm going to continue moving forward. So, just hang in there, right? In terms of, the self-doubt and all that stuff, and just know that, if your intentions are good in terms of you're making good content that, that you're trying to serve your audience with, and that you're doing everything that you can at this point in time, because of course, with YouTube, just like everything else, when you start here, there's a certain amount of information and skills that you have versus when you're here. And then when you're here, you're like, wow, I've come such a long way. But then once you get to here, you're like, wow, I did come a long way, but man, I've really come a long way now. Like I understand things in such a different way now. And I know how to do so much more and so much more efficiently now than I did, when I was here or here. So it's all just part of the process. So, because of that, don't be too hard on yourself. And, for everybody here, like, when you have videos that you put out and they're awesome, give yourself that high five, right? Give yourself, walk in the mirror, be like, crushed it, right? But also, when you have the videos that go down, don't base like your emotions, don't attach them to the video. Just understand that YouTube is a long game. Like if you scale anything out, like if you look at your data, for example, in your YouTube channel, like if you look at a successful YouTube channel, right? You'll see them, in a lot of cases going like this and like this, like this, and they'll build and they'll fall and they'll build and they'll fall. Sometimes it'll take people years in order to actually start climbing the mountain, and then they'll hit the top of the mountain, then they'll kind of peak out, and then it'll fall, and then it'll climb back up again. So it's just part of the process. So just don't give yourself, too hard of a time, and just notice that, if you do scale the date range out, far enough, that those extreme spikes that you're seeing right now, it's just kind of, little waves that are just part of the path that you're taking. So don't give yourself, too hard of a time about it. I mean, pay attention, try to do better, but I'm just saying, like, don't beat yourself up over it. Just what I'm getting at. So Christy Codavon says, what's a good and safe strategy from diversifying my channel's niche related without alienating subscribers that are watching my predominant topic? So when it comes to niching down, you actually niche down for the audience. So the idea isn't like I'm limiting my content. It's more of like the content that I'm going to make. It's for this type of person or this type of viewer. So the example that I like to give for this is the people that watch my content are YouTube content creators. A majority, like a very heavy majority, are people that are getting started on YouTube. So because of that, I could, in addition to, I have like YouTube help content, but I've also got like tool related content. I got mindset content. I've got these live streams and all that. But if I wanted to, I could add skits to my YouTube channel. And out of those skits, I don't know how they would do, but with those skits, I could publish skits on my YouTube channel, and by, I don't know how they do. I'm not sure if I'm funny enough to pull it off, but basically with the skits, I could put them on my channel, but it wouldn't be a skit about, just something random. It would be a skit that would be designed around things that YouTube content creators would resonate with, right? So when it comes to your content, just think, okay, I'm wanting to diversify what I'm doing because I'm bored to death, just doing the same thing over and over again. So what you want to think about is okay, so if I know who I'm making content for, then technically I can make any type of content, but I just have to make sure that I'm catering it towards the audience that I'm trying to get in front of, or the audience that I am in front of. So that's the idea. Because the thing that happens is if you start diversifying to where you're like, hey, I make videos here about, a bunch of different ways to make mashed potatoes. And that's the type of, content that I have on that channel. Just the best mashed potatoes is the YouTube channel, and every video there is about mashed potatoes. And then all of a sudden I start putting, videos about, camera settings and, cameras and camera reviews and things like that on there. Like that's just a bad mix. So what's going to happen is those people that come to you all the time for mashed potato content, mashed potatoes, the people that come to you for mashed potato content, like when you start publishing that camera content, like they're not going to care about it. So sure, that content could find its own audience, and sure, that content could show up on home pages and things like that. And even though it might not do that great out of the gate, it might. But even though it might not do that good out of the gate, YouTube might find that audience for it, and it might do okay later. But then if that happens, then you find yourself in a whole other pickle. And that whole other pickle is that content, maybe if it ended up doing better, then it would be bringing in more viewers that are into that type of content. And then anytime you published a mashed potato video, then that wouldn't do well. So then what you do is you just create this problem of, I'm not really serving anybody. I'm not really, you know, focused with what it is that I'm doing. And therefore that's the kind of response that you're going to get, you know, when you publish videos as well, is like, some will be like, yeah, this one's all right. This one's okay. I'm not clicking on that one. It's not, you know, I signed up for mashed potatoes. They're giving me camera stuff. I'm unsubscribing. You know, you run into problems like that. So because of that, just think from the perspective of, when it comes to niching down, it means that I'm niching down and I'm serving a particular audience. It doesn't mean that I'm necessarily limited in the type of content. I just have to make sure that whatever it is that I do, that I frame it towards the people that I'm trying to reach. Garlic mashed potatoes are fantastic. Rubelia, I totally agree. So let's see here. So Buddy CIY, thanks for the super chat. Says, my best videos take months to make. Seems like they're the only ones worth making now. Should I just make one video every 2 to 3 months and ditch filler? Personally, I wouldn't. I would, of course, need to, you know, look at the channel and things like that to like, you know, nail this one for you. But in terms of, like, if you are making videos that take that long, you say that they're the only ones worth making. I don't know if that means that, you know, when you make a video that takes 3 months to make or 2 months to make, that, you know, those videos get tons of views on them. But then when you throw in some of the filler content, that they get half of the amount of views, but it's still a decent amount of views. I don't know if that's what you mean. Or I don't know if you mean that when you put the filler content out, the stuff, you know, in the middle of the big projects that you do, I don't know if you mean that those just completely, you know, don't do well at all and you don't get any views, you know, like whatsoever. But one thing that I would say is that, you know, when it does come to the big projects, even though it does take you a while to actually make those videos, I would still do the filler. I would just experiment on the filler that you're doing. So if you're not getting good results with the filler content, if your audience isn't responding well to that, then what I would do is I would say, okay, I'm still going to do the big, you know, epic videos, because, you know, people love those. But for that filler content that I'm tossing in the middle, you know, like I would just do like a video a week, or maybe bi-weekly, you know, if you wanted to cut it down a little bit. But basically what I would do is I would say, okay, I'm just going to start experimenting with the filler content and see if I can change the filler content to something that people do respond to as good as or close to how well, or even better than they do my, we'll just call it your flagship content, you know, which is your bigger projects. So that would be the approach that I would take. River TV, but says, how many views per video should I average with 1,000 subscribers? There's not an answer to that question. So I wish I could tell you. I wish I could say, well, if you got 1,000 subscribers, you should, you know, have this. But there's so many variables involved. And let me, you know, because that sounds like a cop-out, but let me explain why. So if you have 1,000 subscribers and you have, let's say, a gaming channel to where you've just been putting up a bunch of random games and you haven't really done anything, you know, like you haven't been intentional about anything, and you just had some videos that just happened to pop, the amount of views that you're going to get on a regular basis are probably going to be different than somebody that that is intentional and somebody that has, you know, been very strategic about the content they're pushing out, and that they're every single piece of content that they're putting out is a laser targeted fit for the people that they're trying to reach. You know, like you're going to have drastically different results between those two people. So, you know, some people will get 1,000 subscribers from one video. You know, like they might have, you know, 20 videos on the channel, but they'll have one video that just pops. And then, you know, after that, they can't figure out how to replicate it. They can't figure out how to get people to respond. They don't know what to do when they go into their analytics in terms of trying to figure out, you know, like what to even look at to figure out why the video performed well. Therefore, it's going to be hard for that person to repeat it unless they sit back, don't look at the numbers, but they look at the human side of it. And they're like, okay, you know, this thumbnail is this. Why did people click on this? Why do I think people click on this? This was the title. This is what the whole video itself was about. This is, you know, how I put the content together. Why do I think people watched this part and they left during this part? Why do I think they, you know, shared this video so much? Those types of things. But basically the idea is, you know, 1,000 subscribers on 10 different channels is 10 totally different, you know, audiences, and they're all going to respond differently, and the content creators are all going to be doing things differently. So because of that, you know, there's not like an average that you should expect. What you should expect is that as you progress through time, as long as you're being intentional about what it is that you're doing and you're publishing, you know, content, you're paying attention, then in that case, you should be trying to actively get better with every video that you publish, and just keep trying to, you know, serve that audience and just keep trying to get better until you get to a certain point to where you're like, okay, this thing's working. And then as it starts working, start trying to figure out what exactly is working and then double down on that to accelerate things. And then once you do that, then you, of course, start, you know, accelerating things. And as you're accelerating things, and of course, you double down on your skill sets and trying to, you know, learn even more about writing titles, making thumbnails, editing your videos, storytelling, all of those types of things. Let's see here. As we keep on going through our list today. Next up, we've got Jaker Crackers. Jaker Crackers says, let's go to space. There we go. Jaker Crackers says that they have a channel like Mr. Beast, and the goal is 1,000 subscribers. And the question is, Nick, I once got beaten up at school for my YouTube channel. I was pinned to the wall when I fell to the ground. Then I fell asleep on the floor. What is this? There's no community, or it's just okay. This is just there's no question there. It's just like a statement. So sorry to hear that you had a bad experience. But we are moving on just because it's for questions. Is what that form is for. Let's see here. So Creaky Blinders, the next one here. We already answered a question from Creaky Blinders, so I'm going to move on here to the next question. RR Primetime KD says that they do mobile gaming and reaction content. The goal of the channel is to get 10 subscribers. So I guess they're just getting started. And they say recently I've had problems with my phone for recording. So what is the best way to record videos on a PC without catching any, without, having any problems? So if you're recording on a PC, of course, just grabbing like a webcam will do the trick for you. Just grab a webcam. You can use like StreamYard, what we're using right here for this live stream. It also has a record only option. Through that record only option, you don't have to go live. You can just hit record, and then you can do all your stuff, and then you can download it, and then you can edit it all together, so that you put out a piece of, nice content. If you are not using that, there's also things like OBS, and you can just go right into, you can record directly into that as well. And as you're recording directly into that, it's going to be recording to your computer though. But when you record into your computer, you are able to control things like bit rate and things like that. So you can tweak it in order to make sure that you're getting the best quality out of it, as long as your computer can handle it. But then that way, you would just record, straight to your computer using that. Good question. Good tech question there. Next question that we have on our list here is from Martin Hewlett's Calming Anxiety. Nice, Martin. Hope that you're doing awesome, man. Nice to see you in here. Zeppelin 3D, what's up? Hope you're doing great. Little Crafty Nook, what's up? So let's see here. They do mindfulness content. Goal of the channel is to create income and be a showcase for my app. And the question is, YouTube video ads worth it on $10 budget, $10 a day budget for a small channel? I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. If you're doing your app, then in that case, making an unlisted video and just driving, making a dedicated video for your app, making it unlisted, and then using that as the thing that you're driving ads to for the sake of bringing attention to your app, that would be the approach that I would take. But in terms of doing it for the sake of growing the channel, I wouldn't do that. And like, especially, like getting started, like once you get the ball rolling and you have some momentum and you're getting, 1,000 views per video, or, 10,000 views per video, like whatever. But I would say like 1,000 views per video. Then in that case, maybe start thinking like, okay, maybe I can, start doing some ad spend on this to just increase the awareness. But just keep in mind, like, through ads, you're kind of forcing yourself on people versus for YouTube content, right? You're kind of forcing yourself, on people instead of letting YouTube do its thing. And when you are letting YouTube do its thing, then it's going to find the people that are going to be the best fit for what it is that you're doing. You can try to target that stuff yourself. And, some people can, they are effective at it. But in, most cases, it usually works against people when they try to run ads on their channel, especially when they're getting started, compared to just letting everything happen organically on the channel. Let's see here. Next up on our list, moving through these today, we're already question number 6. Says, but we had one that we skipped, and then we had Creaky Blinders double up there that we missed. Hold on, I gotta get my dude here in the shot. There we go. There we go. All right. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Rexapod. And really quick, I just want to say, if you're just joining the stream, what we are talking about is we are answering YouTube questions. So if you're a YouTube content creator, you make videos for YouTube, everybody here, it's hanging out in the chat. We are all, content creators like you are. And basically what we do here is we answer YouTube related questions. So right now I'm pulling them out of the form. As the stream progresses over time, I'll end up jumping into the chat as well, answering some questions, directly out of the chat, things like that. All of this is for free. Of course, like you just saw those super chats come in. So, I always prioritize those just because it's the fair thing to do. But you can get your question answered free in the form down below, or as we, progress through the stream, I'll also be pulling them out of the chat. So if you're just joining us, what you want to do is you want to have like a notepad, or just go ahead and, copy your question, but make sure you put a Q in front of it, because that's how I know that it's for me. And then when I say, hey, we're going to, jump into the chat for some questions, and I'll ask you to drop your question, then you want to make sure that you drop it there and have that Q in front of it. And then, and then I'll just randomly pick questions out of there as well. So that's what's going on. That's what we're doing today. All right. So let's see here. So as we keep on moving down the road, we've got Rodney Full Circle says, thanks so much to guys like you, to help brand new content creators like me. I've learned a lot from you and the others helping make videos that are better than complete trash. Thank you so much. Yeah, my pleasure. And, of course, I can't speak on behalf of, the other people that make content like this, but I can say that, that's exactly what it is that we all want. Like we all, when we're making this type of content, we want to, like when people are coming onto YouTube, like it's tough, and we've all been through it. We help people through it still. So like when, somebody comes onto YouTube, like, there's a lot of stuff that you got to learn. There's a lot of things that you got to figure out, and a lot of things that you can screw up, and, things like that, like if you don't take the right approach. So, so all of us that make this type of content, we love, getting feedback like this in terms of like, hey, we're, putting this out there, and then, that it's being, well received, and people are taking the information and applying it to what it is that they're doing. I love that kind of feedback. So awesome to hear that you are getting value from the content. Project MV semi-retired says, what's the best way to push your channel and video on Facebook without looking like spam posts? What you want to do there is you want to actually be an active member of the community. So even if you're an active member of the community, you still have to be kind of careful. So I'm going to give you an example here. So there are a handful of groups, because I live in Thailand, and there's a handful of groups here in Thailand, and I'm in those groups. Like when I log into Facebook, I'll go into our members only Facebook group so that I can check in there. I'll go into like a few other YouTube groups, and then I'll of course check in on like the local stuff that's going on here. And when I go into some of those groups, some of them have people that are YouTubers, and they'll go in there and they'll drop links to their videos and things like that. And they typically get hardly any engagement at all. And every time I see it as a regular user of it, I'm in there and I'm like, first thing I think is I'm like, why are you dropping that in here? It's clear, because I never see you. Like I'm in these groups every day, and I never see you making general posts in here. I never see you contributing. I never see you asking questions. I never see you liking anything. Like you're clearly not in this group on a regular basis. And then you're coming in and you're dropping these videos trying to get people to come and watch your food vlog or something. And if you're not a regular participant in a group, then other people are going to see you that way. So because of that, if you become a regular participant in a group, then it really starts opening things up, because then like the moderators of the group, start to know you, and you can start the dialogue with the moderators before you even drop any video links. Start, the dialogue with the moderators, get to know some of them, get to know the community, start, posting helpful things for the community, stuff like that. And then you become that person that's a contributor to the community, somebody that's helpful there. And then when you're like, hey, by the way, I've got a YouTube channel about this stuff, you guys should check it out, blah, blah, blah. If it comes up naturally in that conversation, then in that case, that completely opens the door for you to be able to share content in there as it pertains to the people of that group, as they ask questions, or as there's, specific things that your videos would be the solution for them for. You can even, poll the groups in situations like that. Like if the people know you in that group, you can be like, hey, I'm working on some, videos for my channel, about this, topic that I cover. In your case, I guess it might be like retirement or something, but it's like, hey, for my YouTube channel, I'm working on putting some videos together for people that are, wanting to retire, or that are retired or whatever. If there's anything, that you have, any questions that you have about retirement, drop them, as a post here, and, it might be something that I, make a video about. And then that also opens you up later to where you can make a post in there and be like, hey, such and such, mentioned that they were having this trouble with, or trying to figure this out, for their retirement, whatever. And I made a video about it. So, here it is, here's that video for them. And then anybody else that came and watched it, then of course they can do that. But if you are going in and you're just like, hey, I'm dropping a link here, dropping a link here, dropping a link here, and you're just using Facebook in that way, then you are spamming. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are, participating in the groups that you're going to be, sharing your content in. And another tip that I want to give you as well is when you are sharing your content into Facebook groups, you want to make sure that in your analytics that you're also going into your traffic sources there. And keep in mind, like, anybody can share your stuff into Facebook groups. But one thing that you do want to look when you are the person sharing is you want to go and you want to look at the audience retention in your traffic sources reports for the videos that you share. And you'll be able to see, if you go into your external sources, you're going to be able to see the viewers that come from Facebook. You're going to be able to see how long they watch your videos for. So if you find out that the people that are coming from Facebook, they're just not even enjoying the videos anyway, then in that case, that's also a good indicator to be like, hey, I'm not even going to waste my time, being involved in that group, for the sake of, sharing my stuff there. Like, I'm not going to even waste my time for that, because the people that are coming over from that, like, they don't even care. Like, they're not even really watching the stuff anyway. So if you notice on the flip side though, if you're like, man, the people that come from this group, they watch like, almost this whole video. And, anytime I share a video over there, I get like extra subscribers and, things like that. Then in that case, I would just stay active in that group and I would, add tons of value to that group so that you have that open ticket, so to speak, to share content in there as it's appropriate, to the group without, overdoing it. Because you wouldn't want to do it with like every post that you make, every video that you make. You wouldn't want to do that approach. You would want to, just be limited, a little bit and say, is this appropriate for, this conversation in the group? If so, then I'll share a video. If not, then I won't. Paul Peck, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. Shark Scrapper, nice to see you in here today. So Bald Gamer, what's up, man? A brother in follicles. Love it. Bald Gamer. Science-Based Fitness. What's up, man? Says, would you recommend sharing videos on Facebook? I feel friends or family click to watch for a few seconds. I've seen others recommend letting YouTube figure out who the best viewers are. Yeah, like I would definitely, I wouldn't share them to your personal Facebook page because then, people will be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go subscribe to your channel, just to help you out. Or, they'll click on the video to give you the view. Maybe they'll run in there and give you a comment so that you can see that they left you a comment and then they're out of there, so, your personal Facebook page probably isn't the best fit unless you're like a vlogger. Then in that case, like anybody that's, one of your Facebook friends, then they might be interested in like watching, your life, unfold. But when it comes to the places that you share it though on Facebook or anywhere on the internet, you just want to think, okay, if I'm going to share this content there, I want to make sure that I believe that the people in that group, if my content were to show up on their homepage, that they would click on it. And like, that's how in alignment that my content is with this group. And if I think it's even a little bit off of that, then I'm not going to waste my time. But if it's like, hey, this is a perfect fit for the type of videos that I make, then in that case, you can experiment there. And then you can do the thing like I just mentioned for Project MV Semi-Retired about going and looking to see the actual retention that you're getting from that Facebook traffic. And you can see all of that in your traffic sources reports for each video that you upload. And then of course, as a whole for the channel. Next up, Heroes TV Japan. Superchat. Says, I heard that using music for shorts uploaded. Oops, I hit space, hit the wrong one there. Boom. I heard that using music for shorts upload from shorts list of music, you will not get strike, but it does not seem so. Music is in the shorts list. Yeah, if you upload and you actually add the music in the short shelf, then you'll be fine. What you don't want to do is you don't want to take, a song that you see somebody else using and just kind of rip it because it's in the short shelf and then, upload it as your own. You definitely don't want to do that. But if you actually, add the music as you're putting the video together, before it goes up to your short shelf, then in that case, you should be clear there. Let's see. Okay. So, hey, Donald Russell. Super chat. Thank you for the super sticker there, super chat there. I appreciate it. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we are going back into the form now for this one, just so you know where the where the questions are coming from here. So we're going to go back into the form for this one, and right here in the form, we've got Rexapod. Rexapod says that they do gaming content. How many gamers do we have in here? If you're a gamer, just say me, just so I can just see who the gamers are here. And if you're a gamer, just say what's up. So basically. Hold on. Let's see here. Beanie Draws, not the best to leave you out as a mod too. Yeah, I think Beanie is a mod, isn't he? Yeah, he is. Okay, so you guys are having a side conversation. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so we got a handful of gamers in here. Okay, so the question here for this is, says the goal is to help people and make people laugh. And the question is, I don't have a microphone. This is a big problem. Obviously, my birthday's coming up, and I'm hoping to get a mic right now. I'm posting videos that are either raw footage or footage with a god-awful editing and text. What can I do to keep him in my video without talking? I recommend that you talk. And the reason I recommend that you talk is because, I mean, technically there is software and there's like websites to where you can, have like AI voices, artificial intelligent voices to where, you put in here. I'll actually play one for you because I made some. Give me a second to actually find them here. But basically, to where you can have artificial intelligent voices talking about, whatever it is that you want. Like you can drop like full scripts in there and they will, let's see here under audio. Let's see here, generated voiceovers. Okay, so these are some things that I had done just from one of those, just to show you the solution and kind of how it sounds. I'm not 100% sure if you are going to be able to hear this or not, but let's find out. Open with, and then let's just go to media player. Oh, come on. Just give me the recommended settings for crying out loud. Woo! Try to do this during a live stream, Microsoft.
Retention reports go into your video.
Okay, here you go.
Click on Analytics. Go to the Engagement tab. Scroll down.
Okay, I think that's pretty quiet. So let me actually turn that volume up and then I'll let it play again. But yeah, so from like some of the sites, like this is like the quality.
To find your audience retention reports go into your video. Click on Analytics. Go to the Engagement tab. Scroll down.
Yeah, so that one was just one where I was like experimenting with what it sounded like. Then I've got another one for like finding the grouping feature and like so on. But anyway, like they have those types of services that you can use as a solution. But another thing that you can do is if you have a phone, then what you can do, and this is going to sound crazy, but believe me on this one. If you have a phone, what you can do in your case, like if you are, putting videos together and you don't have that microphone, if you write your, script or your bullet points, whatever it is that you're going to be talking about, what you can do, you can put a blanket right over you. And this is going to sound nuts, but just hear me out. So you can put a blanket over yourself, right? You could do it. You're sitting in bed, put a little light under there or something, but basically, you're sitting in bed, put a blanket over yourself and record into your phone. Just put the microphone about this far out. Instead of talking directly at the microphone like this, turn your head just a little bit so that you don't turn it just a little bit so that you, like if we're straight on, you want to turn your head just a little bit or just move the phone just a little bit so that, so that the air coming out of your mouth is kind of going past, the microphone and just have it, kind of close to you this way. And then just say whatever it is that you're going to say, look at your notes or, whatever, and say whatever it is that you're going to say. And then from there, you can just save it in your phone and then you can export it to your computer and do your editing there, or you can do everything within an app on your phone. So that would be the approach that I would take in that situation to make sure that you can, definitely get your content out and all of that. Let's see. So next up we've got, and if you're just joining us, I do want to let you know that what we're doing right now is we're answering YouTube questions. So there's a form down in the description where I'm pulling these questions from. We're going to be pulling them out of the chat here as well here in just a little bit. But for right now, I'm pulling them out of this form. So if you have a question, feel free to put it down there. And we'll see how far we get in this form today. So let's see, we got Rexapod. And the next up on this list is from Yamataharisa is what I'm thinking it says. I don't know. I keep messing that one up, so I apologize. Drinkers with gaming problems, what's up? Hope you're doing great. Says, let's see here. The question is, they do gaming content. The first goal is 1,000 subscribers. And the question, is there any advice that would make it easier for people to want to comment on Let's Play content such as RPG style games? Feel free to just call me Yama. Okay, there we go. Yama, that's easy. Thank you. So in terms of people commenting, a way to get people to comment that, might just be sitting back and just kind of watching what it is that you're doing is to ask a question that they can easily answer in the comment section. So instead of saying like, hey, hey, leave a comment, down below this video, just ask a question that they can answer in the comments. And, some people will do it, some people won't, but the idea is to, just come up with stuff related to the game and just think about, okay, the people that are interacting with my videos, the people that are interacting with my games, like what types of things could I ask them to where they would want to give their opinion, to where they would want to be like, oh yeah, this is, I think this about the game, or, this is my favorite character. This is the best character. I don't care what everybody else says. This is the best, this is the, the best player, whatever the thing is. But basically just think about your audience, and what you want to do is, instead of saying like, just a random, like, oh, hey, by the way, leave a comment. And when you leave a comment, just answer this question. Don't do it that way. Just during your gameplay, just simply be talking about whatever it is that you're talking about, and then simply say something that will lead you into that question so that you can say, oh yeah, this is the way that I feel about it. Let me know, what your thoughts are, in the comments or in the chat, if you happen to be live in that case. But the idea is just to ask a really simple question that people can be like, okay, I don't have to really put much energy into this. All I have to do is just answer it. Right. It's not some big, long, drawn out thing to where they got to think like, okay, well, they asked me to leave a comment. Like, what do I leave a comment about? Do I leave a comment about like the coffee I'm drinking? Do I leave a comment about, like their appearance? Do I leave a comment about something that's going on? And they'll be like, what do I leave a comment about? Right. But if you just lead them into it by just simply asking a question, then it will increase the amount of people that are commenting on your YouTube videos. Next question that we have here. That's a good question, by the way. Is Gaming with Christy says they do gaming content. I could have guessed, but I know it's in the forum, right? Gaming with Chrissy, gaming content. It's good. Good to have that as part of your name. Entertainment, community, and money is the goal of the channel. Question: I just hit 515 subscribers. High five, fist bump to you for hitting 515 subscribers. After 13 weeks. Thanks for all the help. How do I get the community tab enabled now? So that rolls out in, let's see here, what is today? Today's the night, so that will be rolling out. It's going to start rolling out on Tuesday. So just as a heads up, just as a reminder here, because I've been talking about this here for the last couple of weeks, but as a reminder, if you have 500 subscribers, the subscriber requirement for the community tab on YouTube used to be 1,000, but they are reducing that to 500 as of October 12th. And at that point in time, as they start rolling that out, if you have 500 subscribers or more, then you should have, if you're in between that 500 and 1,000 mark, and you're like, man, I want to get 1,000 so I can start, working on, or so I can start using that community feed. If that's you, then just, rest assured that starting on the 12th, they're going to be rolling out the community feed to all channels over 500 subscribers. So that's a big win. Thanks to YouTube. Oops. Thanks to YouTube for doing that. High five and fist bump YouTube for hooking up, newer content creators, right? That's always a cool thing to do. So next question that we have here on the list is from Heroes Japan TV. It says, I have a channel to teach Japanese, but I can only reach people in Japan. How can I reach worldwide? This is the same as TikTok. So if you are teaching people Japanese, what you want to do is you want to make sure that that all of your, like if you're trying to teach people Japanese that say, like, let's say, for example, if they speak English and you're communicating to them in English, but then you're, teaching them Japanese, just make sure everything is in English with the exception of the actual, things that you're teaching them in Japanese. So what you want to do there, you want to make sure that your captions are in English except for the Japanese parts. You want to make sure that your titles, descriptions, tags, anything about your YouTube video, any imagery that you're using in your thumbnail, you want to make sure that if you are using text, you want to make sure that that text is also in English. You want to do all of those things and make sure that everything is in English. And by doing that, you should be okay in terms of getting into an English speaking market or whatever language it is that you're trying to, take those people and teach them Japanese. You want to make everything in that language. But then of course, when you're actually doing the teaching itself, you're going to be speaking parts of it in Japanese, words of it, phrases, things like that. But the bulk of it is going to be in that language of the people that you're trying to reach. So because of that, just make sure everything is in that language, whatever it happens to be. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, if you're just joining us too, just a heads up, what we're doing right now is I'm answering YouTube questions. So if you're a YouTube content creator, you're in the right place. Basically what we do is right now I'm pulling the questions out of the forum, but here in just a little bit, we're going to be pulling them out of the chat as well. White Noise Studio, what's up, man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. So this one's from Marcus Sapola. Marcus says that they do communication tips. Multiple streams of income is the goal. And he says, hey, Nick, thanks for all your insights. vidIQ has this new feature called Daily Ideas. It apparently uses AI to suggest video ideas, and it gives a prediction on the amount of views. What's your opinion on this tool and perhaps other similar ones? So when it comes to that, basically, if you look at what it is that they are actually doing, let's see here somewhere on my computer. Here, give me a second. If you use it, and here I'll show you an example here. And I'm not saying that, that it's bad, because, it's something that you can use for inspiration, which is good. So any tool that, can help you in any way, shape, or form is definitely something that, that you should, be considering. However, let me show you this screenshot here, just to show you like what they predicted for me for my channel. I'm actually going to show you two. So the very first one, actually, I'll just show you the one, because this one's, this one pretty much shows you cut and dry, kind of like how it's doing it. But basically, if I go to here and I share the screen here, then what you're going to see with this, and again, it's a great tool. I'm not bashing it in any way, shape, or form. But you can see here, like it says, how to get audience retention on YouTube, how to increase audience retention on YouTube. And then it has the hashtag for the channel that actually has their hashtag in the title for this double title. So what they're doing is they're actually, at least my perception of what they're doing. And, if there's anybody, from the team here, because, I know them over there, I'm cool with everybody over there. But, if I'm interpreting this incorrectly, I'll definitely, fix it, in another stream or whatever, if you happen to be here. But basically, when they're just taking titles like that, it's not like really, like all it's doing is just saying like, hey, this is the, type of content, and they figure that part out. And then it's just kind of scraping other titles from other, people that are making similar content. So because of that, using it for inspiration, totally, that's great. I think it's what it's made for. I don't think it's made to be like, hey, copy and paste this title into what it is that you're doing. I don't think that's the intention of that tool. I think the intention is like, hey, here's some things that other people are making content about in your space. Therefore, use these as inspiration for ideas for what it is that you're doing. So, because of that, you can, I think it's definitely, something that you can use. But I don't think that it's necessarily like AI figuring anything out. It's just, it's just their system that they've built. Maybe AI is a part of this, but it's basically like, hey, this is the type of content this channel makes. These are the other channels that make similar content. And they probably pull that from your account being connected and those other accounts being connected in some cases. And then, them being able to see the crossover audiences, or just pulling that from your YouTube channel analytics on the back end where it shows your crossover audiences. But basically, if that's the case, what it is that's happening there is it's basically just doing that. So it's cool. Like it's a cool tool. However, I don't think that it's something to where, like, in my opinion, like when it comes to coming up with the video ideas, I think you should actually like research, and you should come up with like things that are giving you the best possible chance, based around the content that you make, based around, like where your channel's at that point in time, based around, what it is that, the feedback that you're getting from your audience, things like that. I think that's where your video ideas should come from, more than just like spinning a thing and being like, hey, here's a video idea. Here's a video idea. But I know for people getting started though, like you don't know how to research things like that. Then in that case, like it's a really good solution. So there's that. And I want to highlight this here really quick. So Shark Scrapper says, I just said something very important. As creators, we must think, not just cut and paste. Absolutely. And, the thing is like, like part of, this live stream and just the, content in general, like this type of content, like part of it is, like, sure, like, hey, these are things that you need to do. But, like half of the battle is that, thinking it through part. So that's why, we're always talking, people who make content like me, that's why we're always talking about things like, like making sure that you're doing the research for the topics, make sure that you're, being up to date on the other people that are making content like yours, making sure that you're looking for inspiration, not just on YouTube, but also like in the real world as well, for things you could make videos about through magazines and TV shows and things like that. Looking at other content types, if you are on YouTube, podcasts, things like that, basically just kind of scouring everything and then using all of that for your inspiration to try to come up with some, unique stuff, or at least somewhat unique stuff or unique angles or whatever it happens to be for your content. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we have Draggle of Dragon Woodcrafts and Stories. It says that they do stories and crafts. And the goal of the channel says, I'd like to share my fictional stories with the world. And the question, I was wondering if you could do a mix of 2 to 3 niches. I'm going to try to mix storytelling and crafts together. Is that a good idea? So if you are doing crafts, but you are storytelling through crafts, then that's awesome. If you are going to teach people about storytelling and you're going to teach people about crafts, I would put that on 2 different channels because you're reaching 2 totally different audiences there. So if you're teaching people about storytelling or doing storytelling, and then you're on crafts as something completely different, then I would separate them. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to mix storytelling into my crafting videos, then in that case, yeah, I would definitely experiment with that. Next question. Next one we've got on the list. We've got Spectrum Art Studio. Haven't seen you in here yet, so awesome to get a question from you. Says they do art tutorials and reviews. How many art channels do we have here? Is there a lot of art channels here? If you're an art channel, just say me. I'm just curious. I'm gonna watch the chat for a second on this one. But basically, for the question here, as I'm trying to keep like this eye on the chat, this eye on the question. So the question says to help people with their art struggles and maybe make a bit of cash. Okay, so we've got a few art channels. We've got Clementia, Elizabeth Sampson. Let's see here. Is music art? Heck yeah, it is. By the way, Drew, dude, loving your stuff. You've probably seen a couple comments over on your channel from me, by the way. Let's see here. So, okay. So yeah, so we got, so we got a few. So, so the question here says, I've been drawing portraits, and famous characters on my channel for quite a while. I've been lucky enough to have my channel reviewed by a few of the big channels. None of them mentioned the fact that I could get into trouble for copyright. And I suspect that this isn't an issue, as I've seen several of the same clips. Last week, I advertised my drawings for sale on a specific buying and selling Facebook page, and they said that I could get into trouble for copyright. Also, my portrait of Tom Holland got removed from Redbubble. It got removed this week, so I suspect there's something in this. Any help would be appreciated. Yeah, so basically, when it comes to copyright, when it comes to like selling stuff, that's where things get really complicated. Because, like, for example, I can't make, I mean, technically I could, but as soon as Disney found out about it, I would have to remove it, possibly get in trouble with them and have to, fight them legally. But technically, I'm not supposed to, or I'm not legally allowed to say, okay, I'm going to take like a stormtrooper, and I'm going to make a bunch of art around a stormtrooper, and I'm gonna sell that. And I know they do on Etsy and places like that. But when those things are detected, they can issue takedowns for that kind of thing, to where they make people stop doing it. And in some cases, you can also get into legal trouble for it as well. So I would definitely try to avoid like selling stuff around it. However, if you're drawing those things on YouTube, then in that case, you should be okay, because there you're basically just drawing their likeness. You're building it all from scratch. And then, of course, you're doing stuff with the video itself to make, the whole thing something unique. So because of that, you should be okay on YouTube. Of course, I always have to say in the situation that, you want to, like, if you're going to be doing this as an income source, you want to talk to a lawyer and have, just show a lawyer. Like, I'm telling you that you'll probably be okay, right? But I'm putting that probably in there as like there's always, maybe there's something going on here that, wasn't mentioned, things like that. But I recommend that if you are, going to be making money from this, that you talk to a lawyer, and so that you can make sure that you are legally protected with any choices that you make. So you can be like, hey, I'm going to sell some of these on Etsy. What would be the right way to do this? And then they'll be like, you can't. Or they'll be like, well, you need to make sure that you're doing these things in order to make it so different that, that it's not the same thing, those sorts of things. So let's see here. Next up. Oh, we got some questions come in here as well. Give me 1 second. So we've got, let's see here. Superchat. The Creative Investor says, hey, a couple questions. Any tips you could personally give me on how to get more impressions and rank higher in search results? Absolutely. So when it comes to YouTube search and getting impressions in YouTube search, it's important first to know how YouTube works. So there's a lot of, old information about, all kinds of stuff that you can do, to get like #1 in Google search or YouTube search and things like that. But all of that stuff is kind of like outdated now, because what it comes down to now is it comes down to how your videos perform on the platform. It used to be easier, right, to game, but now you have to make sure that you are serving the viewers from whatever surfaces you're getting the traffic from. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you make a video, because you're on Creative Investor, so I'll guess it's like, financial content. So so let's say that you have a how to get out of debt video as an example. Then in that case, if you have a how to get out of debt video, and then there's 100 other get out of debt videos there, when you publish your video is going to have to be competitive with those other videos that are already there, in order for your video to, right out of the gate, your video is probably going to show up somewhere in the search results at some point in time for some viewers. And then from there, it will probably, unless it's super high performing, will end up dropping down. And then it'll slowly climb through the ranks over time as, you know, as people find the video and respond, you know, better and better to it. But the idea when it comes to search results is that you can't like really game anything anymore. So it's all based on how people respond to the content. So what you want to do if you're trying to capitalize on search specifically, typically, you know, you'll hear me talking about in these live streams and in my videos, you'll hear me talking about looking at your audience retention, look at your click-through rate, you know, all those things. In your case specifically, if you're going after YouTube search, you want to start tracking how people are responding to your content coming directly from YouTube search. Because then in that case, if you're targeting search, then, like your, the traffic coming from suggested videos might not matter to you. The traffic coming from home pages might not matter to you just based on the intent around what it is that you're making, right? That might be why you're targeting search. But so because of that, you have to make sure that you're getting a good response from YouTube search. So what you'd want to do is for the videos that you're publishing where you're targeting search is you want to go into your analytics for that particular video. And then you want to go into your traffic sources in the advanced mode. You want to go into your traffic sources for that. And then you're going to see, the browse, which then will, go down to like home and subscriptions, all that. And then you're going to see suggested videos, but you're also going to see search there. So what you want to do is you want to look in search and you want to see what your click-through rate is there. You want to see what your average view duration is coming from search. And if it's like a fail point, if you're like, hey, I'm getting views on these, but most of my views are coming from elsewhere because my videos are performing better there, then that tells you like, hey, if my click-through rate is garbage here in search compared to the amount of impressions that I'm getting, then I need to make sure that I'm updating my thumbnail if I'm going after search, even though it might be doing great on, suggested or home pages. If I'm going after search so that I can, get into Google and, all that stuff, or just based on the intent, whatever your strategy is for what it is that you're doing. If you're going after search, then you want to make sure that you're going to your traffic sources and you're seeing how people are responding directly from YouTube search and then modifying things based on that. Now, when it comes to that and getting impressions, I'm actually going to share something with you here really quick. Give me 1 second to pull this up. And this is a common question, right? How do I get YouTube to, to show my videos to more people? And give me 1 second here. I'm actually going to pull up some screenshots directly from YouTube. I've done this on a couple of streams. I've even made a video about this, but I know not everybody watches all the videos. Not everybody, hangs out in the live streams all the time. So, so let me share this with you, just to show you from the horse's mouth, right? Because I can say one thing, right? But I'm going to show you specifically from YouTube, what's important to them in terms of, when it comes to you getting impressions on your videos. So first off, let's see here. Let me close that one. Let me go into here. No, not that one. Give me 1 second. See here, help pages, impressions. Okay, here we go. And this is going to be extremely vague, and you're going to be like, hold on, but it's going to get better. Hold on, I'm going to get more specific as we go into this. But the first thing right out of the gate is if you look right here, it says, how do I get more impressions or higher CTR? And just as a heads up, this information is available to everyone. Every one of you that see this, that's watching this right now, this information, if you look for like YouTube help pages, you can find some of this information there. If you look for YouTube Creator Academy, you can find some of this information in there as well. It's where I'm actually pulling these screenshots from. But basically it says, the best way to get more impressions is to consistently make great content, great quality content that viewers love, right? It's pretty vague, right? So let's go a little bit deeper. So right here, the very first thing I'm going to bring to your attention, and I'm pulling up another one here for you, and I've got a few of these. So right out of the gate here, this one says that how do impressions relate to monetization? Here, if a video is not suitable for a broad audience, according to our community guidelines, it can limit the number of impressions that the video gets, right? So that they do put limitations on impressions. When it comes to this also, another thing to make sure that you are considering when it comes to, the impressions that you're getting and how people are responding to your videos is, you always hear people talking about, hey, make compelling thumbnails. And, we talk about making compelling thumbnails, but we never tell people to mislead people because it works against you. So here, they talk about, clickbait videos. And they say clickbait videos tend to have lower average view duration. The thing I want to focus you on here, low average view duration, and therefore are less likely to get recommended by YouTube. Okay. And I got more. I'm going to keep going here just for a few more. So hang out here just for a second. Hang tight. I'm going to grab some more here for you. But let's see here what I have here on impressions. Here we go on search. Okay, so this one for you, this one's specifically for you because it's because you were asking about YouTube search specifically. So I'm going to pull this one up for you. So right here, they say here that when it comes to search, videos are ranked based on a variety of factors, including how well the title, description, and video content match the viewer's query. So the first thing right out of the gate is you just want to make sure that you are considering if somebody's looking for, like how to cook an egg, that, that you are matching that query in some way so that you can make sure that, since YouTube, the default sorting on YouTube is by relevance, right? So if you have a video on like how to make an egg and people are looking for how to make an egg, then in that case, based on relevance by itself and what they're telling us right here, then, the likelihood of your content showing up there is going to be higher. Now, there are some other things to think about there when it comes to, matching the viewer's query, that it's not always like necessarily keyword based, but it could be like the intention of those viewers as well. And because of that, like an exact match title might not even necessarily be the right thing to do in some cases, depending on what it is that you're doing with search, right? But the idea is that, the very first step is making sure that you're matching the viewer's query. And that's not necessarily for YouTube. That's more so, I mean, it's part of it's for YouTube, but it's more so that if I'm looking for, how to cook an egg, then in that case, I'm interested in like, okay, how do I cook an egg? So then the easier it is for me to see something that's like, oh, this video here says how to cook an egg. That's what I'm looking for. Bam, I'm clicking on that one. Like that's how it goes down. So because of that, if people are clicking on those videos more with the exact phrase that people are looking for, those will be at the top. If people are not clicking on those, but YouTube has determined a different video that people respond to at a really high rate through the search results, even though it's not exactly what it is that they're looking for, maybe it just has a great thumbnail, then in that case, that's going to be at the top of search results, right? So that's why it's important to make sure you do the research first. In addition to that, for those of you that are going after YouTube search, they also gave some tips here around this. They say search for what words people use to find your channel and traffic sources in YouTube. Consider incorporating the most relevant search terms for each of your new videos. You can add them as title and descriptions as long as they're accurate and not excessive. They tell you to write robust descriptions, 1 to 2 paragraphs long if relevant, and brainstorm new ideas, of course, looking for popular and less competitive queries. If you're targeting search, you probably know that already. Right here. Okay. So this is a part that I really want to bring to your attention. And this is kind of like the backbone of what I'm wanting to talk about here. So over here on this side, you see the myth busting. And the myth is my videos have fully optimized titles and descriptions. Why don't they rank higher? Okay. And then they show you here, truth is that search considers many signals, including the watch time of a particular video for a particular query. Okay. So what that means is if somebody's looking for how to make an egg, how to cook an egg, whatever it is. If somebody's looking for that on YouTube and your video matches that, and let's say that I made the same video and both of our videos are there and, we have them all optimized, perfectly. We have all the right metadata, all that stuff. If your video, let's say if your video is great and my video sucks, your video is going to stay there, or your video, initially might be there and then it might fall and then, climb back up, whatever, but your video, will continue to do well there as long as it, keeps doing awesome. Whereas if my video sucks, then I'm not even gonna have a chance at showing up there. And it's not just the video, it's also your thumbnail and your title, basically your ability to pull people into that video. If that sucks, then you're not gonna be there. If once they do click on the video and they don't get a good experience from that video, if that happens, then you're also not going to be there. So what you have to make sure that you're doing when you're targeting search, and this is why I told you to go into your traffic sources and look and see how people are responding in terms of the click-through rate and the average view duration that you're getting from search specifically. Because if you're trying to get your videos to show up in search, you have to make sure that people are responding to them there. And as long as people are responding positively there, then YouTube's going to keep showing your content there in search. Now, when you were talking about impressions, when you're getting impressions on search, you also have to consider on search by itself, because you can also see how many impressions you're getting from search as well. But when it comes to search itself, you also have like how many people are actually looking for it, right? So that, like if people aren't really looking for it a lot in YouTube search, but let's say that you went like really long tail on your, on what you're targeting it for the topic. If you want really long tail on on what you're doing there, then in that case, if people aren't really looking for it a lot, then YouTube can't give you a lot of impressions in search because people aren't looking for what it is that you made there, right? So, so because of that, just making sure that you do that research on the front end, and then you follow some of the things that we were talking about here in terms of making sure that, people are clicking on it from YouTube search specifically. And then of course, enjoying the content once they do. And in addition to that, just a heads up, and I'm sure you know this already as well, but I'm just sharing it for the sake of, just for those of you that don't, is that when you do have videos show up in YouTube search, they can also show up as long as people respond to them there, because the same rules apply. As long as people will click on them from Google, they'll also show up in Google, Yahoo, under the video results on Yahoo, on Bing, and everything else that shows video results. They can also show up there as well. So then that way, not only are you getting traffic from YouTube search, hopefully, if you're being compelling enough with your title and thumbnail, you're also pulling it from, recommendation features as well. But then you also kind of balloon everything out in terms of your possibilities for discovery, because then in addition to YouTube, working on your behalf because you're, putting good content out there that people are enjoying, you also have, your content showing up on Google and Yahoo and, any other search engine that shows video results that can also bring people into what it is that you're doing. So, so hopefully that answered your question. But basically, like when it comes to impressions on YouTube, it really comes down to, at the end of the day, like if we were to simplify everything to like the most, like, hey, this is what it really comes down to, right? At the end of the day, you got to get people to click at a competitive rate for the platform for your type of content. You got to get people to click. You got to give them a good experience when they watch. Doesn't mean that they necessarily have to watch, that everyone has to watch all of the video. It just means that the people that do come in, YouTube has to detect that it's a satisfactory experience for them. Getting people to the end of your video is a huge signal that people had a great experience with that video, or a good experience with that video, or at least that they were engaged with that video all the way to the end. And then of course, if you have, in-screen elements that are there and people are clicking on end screens or going to additional content, then, that's another positive signal for YouTube. But at the end of the day, clicking, watching, right? Clicking, watching. And of course, in your case specifically, since you are doing, since you're targeting search, you want to make sure that you're doing, a lot of research, and that before you make the video, that you're doing a lot of research and that you're being very intentional about the content that you're putting out based on specific, terms that you're targeting. So hopefully that answered. Geotechnica Online, what is going on? I hope that you are fantastic. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for stopping by the stream today. I hope that you're doing great. Nice to see you. It's been a long time, really long time. Nice to see you. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through this list here, the next question that we have here says, hey, couple question personally on how to get more impressions, rank higher in search results. Okay, here's another one. I make stock videos and have about 12,000 impressions. And how I'll get ranked vary a lot from day to day. It will only let me send $5 super chats. Oh, yeah, that's cool. No worries. Yeah. So, with your stock footage, the same exact thing applies. So I also have a stock footage channel as well. I started putting it out there. I was basically just uploading stuff the content creators could use for free, but unfortunately YouTube ended up hitting me with a community guidelines, some community guidelines issues, and they took the channel down. I was able to get it back up. But after that, I was like, you know what? I'm putting a lot of work into this, and it's a pretty risky thing. So I just kind of let it go. But in terms of, getting stock videos to show up, same rules apply, right? In terms of like, hey, in your case, because it's stock, basically, in that case, I would just try to think like, okay, the people that are going to be looking for this, this B-roll of money that they can use in their video, or this, this waterfall shot or this drone shot, like what is the thing that those people would look for the most? And another thing that's going to be up against, or that you're going to be up against, is that in a lot of the stock channels, just like the one that, that I was making, is that, people can just go, they can click on the video, and then they're going to go straight to the video description, right? Because they're going to want to get that download link. So they're going to go straight to the video description. And then, they can bail on that video. So because of that, you kind of end up, kind of walking kind of like a really thin line there. Because it's not like the content that you're making, since it's stock videos, now that I'm seeing that, since it's stock videos, in that case, if it's, as long as you mean stock videos in terms of like you're recording footage and then you're uploading, that footage for people to download, for like B-roll and stuff like that in their content. If that's the case, then that is something that you're, it's kind of working against you, because you're not making content that's necessarily creating a viewer experience. you're making content that is just a resource that people can just go and download. So because of that, you're pretty much going to, I'm not going to say you're going to have to rely on search, because if people are downloading your content, they're clicking on your videos, they go and they click on a bunch of other videos, they're downloading those, then they'll probably, you'll probably end up on their home pages too. But at the end of the day, it's a little bit, it's a little bit more difficult with what it is that you're doing if you're doing that type of stock.
Super chat.
Bill Dubé, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it.
Super
Herm
chat.
Geppert. We're hopping back into the forum right here in a second. Herm Geppert, thank you for the super chat as well. And the question here on this one says, my video has been about YouTube and starting, but I was thinking about increasing my uploads to 2 per week. The second video being more of a vlog video about what else goes on in life aside from YouTube. Do you think that this would be a good idea? It's been about YouTube and starting, but I was thinking about increasing my uploads to 2 per week. Second video being more of a vlog video about what else is going on in life. You can, yeah. Like the thing is like, especially when you're first getting started, like if you're doing like YouTube specific stuff, like I would grow that audience first around the value that you're providing with your content, and then start dripping in the vlog stuff once you have some people engaging with what it is that you're doing. So I would focus hard on getting momentum first and in building that core audience first. Once you build that core audience and you have people that actually care more about, seeing what goes on, with your life, then in that case, then start, dripping in some of that content. That would be the approach that I would take. Let's see here. So, next question that we have on the list, I'm going back into the forum for this one, and then we're actually going to hop into the, comments here and pull some questions out of the comments as well. So, so this next question here out of the forum, this one is from Rubelia. Rubelia says that they do gaming content. Shout out to another gamer here. Says, the goal of the channel is to make money from home. And the question is, Nick, I upload 4 times per week and I've been doing it for almost 3 months. I have 9 subscribers right now. I've heard people using Patreon to make money with their videos, but I'm not sure how to do it. Or if it would be worth it. Can you give me some advice? Yes, work on your content. If you've been uploading for 3 months and right now you have 4 videos per week for 3 months and you have 9 subscribers, work on your content. Work on your content and work on trying to, I would experiment with different things that you can do, different things that you can offer through your content in terms of, like if you're doing Let's Plays, then in that case, maybe you need to start making some doorway content to where you're showing people I actually just mentioned this somewhere on Facebook here a little bit before the stream while I was eating. But basically, try to work in, if possible, maybe some character guides or game guides or, tutorials on how to beat specific characters or levels or whatever the thing is, where to find the best, things in whatever game it is that you're playing, those sorts of videos for the sake of bringing people in. Right? Because that's the type of content that, people will click on from home pages and things like that, even if they don't know the creator, so that they can get the information that's in that video, which will add value to them. And then when it comes to the Let's Plays, there's also value there because you're entertaining people and all of that. But if that is the type of thing that you're doing, those are typically longer videos as well. So because of that, I would be very intentional about how you're putting those videos together. But then I would also put out some of that value content to help bring people in. And I guarantee you that if you start doing that value content, you'll actually have more people subscribing to the channel because they see the value in what it is that you're doing. It's not just all about you at that point and about you playing the game. It's about, you playing the game, but it's also about the help that you are giving them. So, so I really recommend that you give that a shot. Okay, so if you have a question about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, go ahead and drop it in the chat right now. Just make sure you put a Q in front of the question, and I will just randomly pull one up here. And I've got one more super chat as those are coming in that I'm going to answer here really quick. Here's TV Japan also says, sorry for a lot of questions. For ads revenue, is some niches higher than others? Is teaching high? What niche is low? My niche is actually pretty low. Teaching, I'm not sure. On teaching, I know the make money online stuff, that's huge. Anything like that is pretty big. Any finance content, that sort of stuff, any marketing related content, can be okay. But for teaching, I'm not really sure. But for low, gaming can also, be low on, if there's a lot of games coming out, it can go, a little bit higher. But there's if you are, think of it from this perspective. if you are putting out content that advertisers are like, yeah, we want this audience, then it can be relatively high. If you're putting out content to where it's like, oh yeah, there's some stuff that you can sell around this, but it's going to be just more general ads that are showing up on the channel, then in that case, it's going to be relatively low. And if you do silly stuff like me, then like what I do is I make it even worse. So for example, for those of you that are monetized, you may or may not know this. I'm going to share a little side tip for you. So one thing that you can do is you can actually go into your account, your AdSense account, and you can block specific types of advertising. You can block specific advertisers, things like that. So what I do, just because, I'm not a big fan of like, political things and stuff like that, especially like somebody's clicking on my video to learn about YouTube. I don't want them getting hit with a political ad. Somebody's clicking on my video to learn about YouTube because they're trying to, like do this stuff better. I don't want them getting hit with like religious ads. I don't want them getting hit with pharmaceutical ads or anything like that. So I go through and I check those boxes and I turn all those things off. In addition to that, I also go in, and if I notice specific companies, I'm not going to call them out, but I'm sure you've all seen those advertisements on videos to where, it's companies promising you that they'll bring you views and they'll bring you subscribers. And, our way to do it is different than all the other places that are scams. Our scam is different, like all those people, like when I notice those, or when somebody leaves a comment, let me know that they've seen them. Then I'll go in and I'll block them out as well to make sure that, you guys don't see those. If I left all that on, then, my ad rates would be higher. But for me, it's more important that, that you guys are, or not just you guys, but like anybody that's interacting with my content, they're watching my videos because they're trying to learn about YouTube. And I don't want them being led astray by some shady company trying to basically send bots to watch their videos so they can have a really short moment in time where they're like, yes, this is working. And then as soon as they stop, paying that company, then everything just crashes down on them. And then eventually those views and everything get taken away anyway once YouTube detects that it's all scammy. So I block that stuff. But what you can do, here's the tip for those of you that are monetized. So if you are monetized, if you're in the partner program and you promote things as an affiliate, sometimes you'll get caught in the crossfire, so to speak, of ad campaigns. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say that you are promoting bells, right? Let's say you got a little bell and you're promoting this bell, and you start selling a lot of it, and you start making a lot of videos about it. And because of that, topically, you might get in the crossfire of a ad campaign where they just target a keyword, right? And then, you were selling this bell like crazy, and it's like, wow, I noticed my sales dropped off like a lot. And even though not every viewer that comes in is going to see an ad on your videos or anything like that, because, you have your monetized playbacks and then your playbacks. But basically, for the people that are coming in and seeing it, if their intent was to possibly buy this bell, then in that case, they're essentially siphoning potential commissions off of you. So my tip to you, if you do, sell anything as an affiliate, off of your YouTube channel, just to avoid getting caught in that. In some cases it can be malicious, but in other cases it's just kind of a side effect of, effective marketing campaigns. But basically, you want to go in, you want to block the URLs of the things that you promote, so that you can prevent that. If you're a business owner, if you're hanging out in here and you're a business owner, if you have competitors, like one of the things that is common, I actually recommend it to people. You've probably heard me recommend it to people in these streams. But basically, another thing that people can do is, let's say you're a real estate agent, you're a local real estate agent, and you are targeting a very specific area, and you're putting all this work to your YouTube channel, you're sweating it out, you're staying up late at night to make sure you can get some videos up. You're putting in all the work. And, you're trying to do things, organically, and trying to figure out how to, really leverage YouTube for what it is that you're doing. And then once you start getting momentum, it's like, wow, I'm getting all these views in the videos. This is great. And then next thing you know, you start having people in your comments like, hey, this person's advertising on your videos. And all it takes is for, that competitor to be like, hey, this person, they're in my area, they're having a lot of people watch their views. I'm just going to run ads on their videos. And then, in that case, they're showing up for some of your viewers as they're coming into your videos as well. So you'd want to make sure that you go in and you block them also. So just some helpful side tips there. What is the bell for, says Kaylee Tastic? Yeah, see, now we're getting into the real questions. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so this, I'm not even sure yet. I don't know if this is going to be like, I got this last week, but I didn't use it. I'm not sure if this is going to be like an excitement thing. I don't know if it's going to be a winner thing for milestones. When people hit milestones, I'm not sure if that's going to be the thing. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it yet, but it's here and it's ready. Like, they say that, what is it? Luck is when opportunity meets preparedness, right? This is preparedness. So when the opportunity comes up to use this, hopefully my brain will be like, oh, that's what the bell's for. And then it'll start using it for that. So this one, I'm just letting this sit here, and then it'll be used as, you know, as it, you know, just as it happens. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right. So let's see here. So next up, let's grab a question out of the chat here. So I'm going to scroll up here because I know a lot of questions came in, and I'm going to start up here at the top. We're going to go through a few of these, and then I'll jump back into the forum, and then we'll kind of go back and forth here. So let's see here. I'm scrolling up to see exactly where the question started, and I'm just going to grab this first one I see here. Okay, Unseen Whispers says, have you ever had a video or thumbnail refuse to show up in search? If you search anime like how to not summon a demon lord, you'll see 0 custom thumbnails. Tried changing mine, but no luck. Okay, so what happens? Excuse me. What happens is that YouTube, they actually test sometimes, you know, like, hey, for this search result, you know, will people respond more if it's just a screenshot compared to the thumbnail, things like that. Sometimes you'll see the same exact thing on home pages as well. So, you know, sometimes if you can't get that to happen, sometimes it's that. Other things is it could be your browser, like it could be you. So I would definitely make sure that you're looking for other things to make sure that it's not, you know, just search in general. And for that, I would definitely, like, you know, just clear your cache and all of that in your browser to just confirm that, you know, that it's not on your end and that it's just YouTube testing for that particular search result. Is it a good idea to do game information videos along with the Let's Play so that my channel has, hold on. Is it a good idea to do game information videos along with the Let's Play so that my channel has information value as well, but keep the main focus on my Let's Plays? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely a good approach, because then what you do there is you create an environment. You create an environment to where, like, hey, I'm helping you out. I'm bringing you in. I'm showing you how to do this stuff. And, you know, like, I do this too. So, you know, so we can all come together in some of these Let's Plays, that I do. So absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely a good approach. Is there any case, man, I did it again. Is there any case where promoting your YouTube stuff on Facebook actually works? Yeah. Facebook ads messed my channel up big time, as you might remember. Now I'm scared to put any links on Facebook, even when I'm asked to. Yeah. So like I said before, like if you have that perfect fit, right? If it's like, hey, these are, you know, like, these people are great. This is my group, right? I made this group. And, you know, people are, you know, like, these people, you know, they click on my stuff, they watch it, they enjoy what it is that I'm doing. In that case, yeah, if the people are a perfect laser fit for what it is that you're doing, absolutely. However, if they're not, then yeah, you can kind of work against yourself there. But keep in mind, you know, other people can share your stuff too, but they're most likely not going to be sharing your stuff in groups that aren't appropriate for it anyway. Hopefully. So because of that, you know, I would just be intentional about what it is that you're doing. And I would think through, like, okay, are these people a good fit for my content or not? Let's see. So Marcus Schwab, superchat, says, will you ring the bell? Absolutely. Bell has been rung. Oh, I love live streaming just for things like that. So much, like, for me, yeah, this is what entertainment looks like. Like, this is great in terms of me being entertained by, you know, by you guys. Like, this is what it looks like to me. Like, that's why one of the reasons that I'm in here, you know, every Saturday, like clockwork. Let's see here. It's a good time. I'll do it that way. It's a good time. I saw somebody mention Roberto Blake. Is Roberto Blake in here? Let's see. Hey, Chantel. Nice to see you in here. Let's see here. Yeah, I do not see. I saw somebody mention Roberto, but I don't see him here. Oh, hey, White Noise Studio. Marlon went over 5,000 subscribers a few weeks ago. Congratulations. High five and fist bump to you for crossing 5,000 subscribers, man. Nice work. Love that. So it looks like maybe that's what that's going to be for then. Oh, it's the milestone bell, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll have to give it a name of some kind. The milestone bell, that might work. Let's see here. So next question, I'm going to pull this one here from the chat as well, and then we're going to hop back in. I'm going to pull one from the from the forum, and then we'll go back into the chat again. Okay, we talked about that one already. Let's see here. How do I see in the metrics which video is driving the most search traffic. So what you want to do there is if you go into your YouTube analytics here, I'll actually, give me 1 second. I will show you or tell you more so. If you go, basically what you want to do, essentially, is you go into your YouTube analytics, you want to go up into advanced mode. Once you are in advanced mode, click into traffic sources. Once you're in traffic sources, click on YouTube search. Once you are there, then you're going to see the actual search terms that that people are coming in for. So give me 1 second. That shows you the terms. Let me go back. Un momento, por favor. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I'm going to show you here. Just give me 1 second. And while I'm doing this, I'll let you guys chill for a moment. Yeah, I'm going into my clips channel real quick, and I'm hoping that that it doesn't cause any issues here with the stream. Let's see here, Nimmin extra. Why am I having a brain freeze right now? Hold on, YouTube search. That's only our search terms. Hold on. Video. I'm having like a total brain meltdown here. So I'll make a video about this for you. Give me 1 second. Let me make myself a note. It's a great question. And I'll make this video. It might end up as like a short or something, or maybe something that I'll post privately in the community feed, but I'll get this to you later. So I don't hold the stream up for it too much. Let's see here. Make video. Who is this? Clementia. Make video for Clementia. Clementina about finding bids from search. Okay. Yeah, so that one, it'll either be like a story or whatever. And then I'm going to go back to my main account. So give me 1 second here to fiddle with this to get back there. Okay. And then I'll turn this back down, and we will come back in. There we go. And then go back into here. All right. So let's see our next question that we have on our list. Do you have any tips on making a gaming channel? I'm going to dedicate my channel to gaming and commentary, Minecraft to be specific. So if you are making a gaming channel, I recommend that you first start thinking of content that you can do. Daniel Batal in the house. What's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. I hope that you're making content that that's a gaming channel. But so what you want to do is that you want to make sure that you're making content that's going to make it easy for people to find your content. And some of the things that people do with that is they will do, like how to beat certain levels. There'll be like tips and tricks videos around the game. There'll be like character guides, game guides, like those sorts of things. If you make that type of content, in addition to, like if you end up doing like Let's Play live streams, things like that, then what that's going to do is that's going to put out content out there that people are actually like looking for. And since people are looking for things around that, they can help you show up on home pages, but it can also help you show up in search on YouTube, so that the people that are interested in the game that you're playing, that are looking, trying to figure it out, things like that, that also enjoy watching the game, then they can enjoy your content. Once they find it through search and they get that value out of it, then of course they can enjoy like the Let's Play stuff and things like that if you decide to go that route as well. So at the end of the day, you want to mix, the content in terms of, putting out some of those videos with making content that is like if you're doing Let's Plays or something like that. So that's the approach that you want to take. So you want to mix your content that you're publishing with, like, this is stuff that's going to bring people in. And this is also going to bring people in, but this stuff is going to bring more people in at scale to get started. And then once you notice, like, hey, I got a lot of people watching these Let's Play videos, then of course you can lean more into that if you decide to, if you end up doing a lot of Let's Plays. Hi, Robert Steele. What's up, man? Hope that you are doing awesome. Welcome to the stream. Original Ryan Gaming says, with the colder season generally meaning more people indoors, does YouTube see an increase in viewership? And if so, what's a good way to capitalize on it? It's not just the colder season because, depending on where you're at in the world and all that good stuff. Like, for example, like if you're in Florida, cold season, it's a little bit different. But of course, if you're, up in like Michigan, then yeah, you're going to be spending a lot of time inside. So basically Q4 in general is where viewership increases on YouTube. And in terms of a good way to capitalize on it is, of course, just make sure that you're publishing on a regular basis. Make sure that you're being intentional about the content that you're publishing. Make sure that you are just being very intentional, really, about all the stuff that you're doing here, and that you are just dedicated here over the next 3 months so that you're dedicated over the next 3 months. Maybe if you float over into January as well, but you make sure that you're just publishing on a regular basis. Make sure that you are interacting in your comments on a regular basis. If you have the community tab, use it on a regular basis. If you have stories, use that on a regular basis. If you have any other social media accounts, interact with your community there on a regular basis, because, as more people, as more people are coming into YouTube during this time, you want to make sure that you're, interacting with those people as well, if you're into the community side of things. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got, let's see, my subs mostly come from search, almost 5,000 subscribers. I was getting 1,000 to 2,000 views on each weekly video. That keyword search has come significantly more competitive and cannot get more than 700 thoughts. Are you sure that that you were getting 1,000 to 2,000 views on each weekly video from search? If so, and if more competitive, people, if the whole thing became significantly more competitive, then that means that you have to get better, right? So I'm in a similar boat with what it is that I do, right? So basically, it seems to be that that when it comes to YouTube, like basically, with any type of content, once people start to see like, hey, people are having a lot of success with this type of content, then a lot of people will hop on the bandwagon. If they should or if they shouldn't, they'll still hop on the bandwagon for it. So because of that, like the space that I'm in has also gotten just like increasingly competitive over the last couple of years. And that means that, that I have to be better at what it is that I do in order to be able to, keep up with the competition. So because of that, recently I've had to just kind of, rethink the way that I, normally do things and stuff like that, because there's some really good people, like for example, like Film Booth. Ed, he's going to be hard to keep up with, right? So he's going to be really hard to keep up with. So because of, he's coming into space. Nate from Channel Makers is awesome. So, since he's so good as well, like he's going to be really hard to keep up with. And then, of course we've got, the people that normally make this type of content who are already really good at it. So, just keeping up with all of them. Plus we've also, like there's just a lot of new channels that have popped up that are making this type of content. And in addition to that, a lot of people that don't even make this type of content on a regular basis will also from time to time, dip their toes in the subject matter, and that will pull some attention away as well. So because of that, what that means to me, and this relates to your question, is that I have to get better at what it is that I'm doing in order to make sure that I, maintain my competitiveness. And if I don't do that, then what will happen is I'll start, falling behind. So you might have noticed over 2020, and some of 2021, I actually got, kind of lazy. I mean, I'll just be honest with you guys. I got kind of lazy, with my YouTube channel. I was doing a lot behind the scenes, but in terms of, like my videos publishing and, things like that, like I used to do 2 videos per week and then a live stream. But then I went down to like a video per week, during that time. And then some weeks I just wouldn't even publish. Right. So I just got really lazy, with my content, and I'm impacted by that, of course. Since I got lazy with the content, that is reflected in, in the channel. And right now I'm right in that kind of startup phase to, kind of bring things, back to life, so to speak. But basically what you have to do though, is you have to be like, hey, if things get more competitive, then, just like with anything else, if you're a track and field runner, or if you're a marathon sprinter or whatever reference you want to give that, and you have people that come in and then all of a sudden, they're faster than you, then, maybe you got to spend more time in the gym. Maybe you got to spend more time practicing. If you're a musician and you're like, competing with other musicians for something and, and you're really good and people are like, hey, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden you have, somebody else come in and they're better. Then in that case, you better make your fingers bleed because you got, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to keep playing, then you have to, maintain, you have to keep rising as the competition rises. But luckily on YouTube, one really awesome thing about extra competition is that the people that are, good is that it will, kind of raises all tides, so to speak. So basically, like, as you have more of those videos going out, that's more videos that, people can get suggested traffic from and things like that. So there's definitely positive sides to it as well. So like when it comes to search specifically though, then what you need to think is like, okay, if I'm getting taken out for these terms and people are making better content, if I can't compete there yet, then in that case, maybe I need to target terms that are, or topics that are a little bit less competitive. Let's see here as we keep on. I'm going to hop into the forum here for this one, and then we will, we'll hop back into the, oh, hold on. I saw something for a 7K. Walter's World. What's up, man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Let's see here. Neil, Urban Van Life. What's up, dude? Hope that you are doing great here as well. Thanks for the heads up there, Doug. Let's see here. You can ring the bell. Ring, ring, ring. Okay, here's another thing to ring the bell. From Marcus Schwab. And then we have Feast with Cornese. Says, I received my 1,000 subscriber, my 1,000 subs with 8,139,000 watch hours. YouTube sent my 3-step app for monetization on yesterday. Excuse me. How do I change my business URL to my YouTube URL for my AdSense account without a custom YouTube URL? Okay, so if you have 1,000 subscribers, you can get a custom YouTube URL. In terms of changing your business URL to your YouTube URL for your AdSense account, then what you would need to do in that situation is you would need to secure the new URL. Basically, when you're changing URLs, let's do it this way. When you're changing the URLs, basically, if you have one already, you have to basically take that one away or essentially delete that URL. And you do this in your actual YouTube settings. If you go into your settings for the channel, it's going to pop up that dialog box. And then you're going to have an option if you go into channel to go into advanced, I believe is where it's at. And then when you go into advanced, it's going to open you up into like a whole new kind of area. It's going to seem like, and then it's going to end up taking you into your actual Google account. And that's where you start doing that kind of stuff. But basically when you change the URL, first you have to take the one down. And then you make the, and then you submit the new URL. Since you only have 1,000 subscribers, you don't have to worry about, like the check mark being taken away and resubmitting for that or any of that stuff. But then once you get approved for that new URL, which should happen in a really short amount of time, then you would take that URL and then you would plug that into, your AdSense account. Next on our list. Okay, got that one. Okay, back into the forum. So we've got Sam's Transformers. Sam's Transformers says that they have a Transformers toy channel.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
The goal of the channel is to help people build Hasbro Transformer knowledge. The question, how do I structure my about description for new viewers that are exploring my channel? So when it comes to your About Me page, what you want to do is at the very top, you want to say like your channel name and then say what it is that you're offering on your YouTube channel. The reason that you want to do this is this is a minor optimization tweak that you want to do because here, I'll show you really quick. It's a minor optimization tweak that you want to do because when people are, and I can't find this either. Hold on really quick. There it is. So when people are sharing your content out, there's certain things that people are going to see when your content gets shared out. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here. And I'll just do it on my YouTube channel so that you can just get an idea. So this is the thing that I'm using right here. Let me take this to 0 because it kind of zoomed in a little bit there. Okay. So, so the first thing I'm going to do, of course, and here, I'll just share my screen here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. So this right here is Twitter's card validator. And what that means is when people share your content out on Twitter, this is what people are going to see. So here you can see that if somebody shares my channel out, and I'll zoom in on this one now, you can see here, it says Nick Nimmin shares YouTube tips, YouTube video ideas, and more to help you grow your YouTube channel by getting more whatever. But the most important part is shares tips, YouTube video ideas, and more to help you grow your YouTube channel, right? So basically this is optimized. The very top, this is pulled, and here, let me, I'll show you this as well. This is pulled from the nice mix. Let me go here, go to my about, close this. So what you're seeing there is what it is that you see right here, right? So what you want to do is you just want to make sure that that top part of your description is optimized so that if somebody shares your content, like, hey, you got to check out this YouTube channel, right? You got to check this out, and they share it out onto Twitter so that people will have a little bit of context before they click on it. Make sure that you're using information here to where your target audience, the people that you're trying to reach with your content, to where they see you, right? To where like they see that those words, I mean, they see the words that you put in there, but it's things that would, you know, that they would relate to and that would help them know that your content is for them. Okay. Same exact thing. If you do it in Facebook, and I will do here. This is Facebook's sharing debugger. And with this one, it does a similar thing. It's just smaller character counts, right? Nick Nimmin shares YouTube tips, YouTube video ideas, and more before it cuts off, right? So then with this, if somebody shares the channel out onto Facebook, then it gives some context there. So, so the idea with these things is that you use these as a way, that very top part of your description, to just have a little tiny optimization tweak there to give yourself a small advantage for when people are sharing your content out. Once that's finished, then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, these are the man, I'm just losing my mind all over the place today. So at the very top, yeah, so you optimize the very top for what it is that the value that you're bringing, plus you want to put your channel name in there and things like that for social sharing. But then after that, you can talk about specifically what it is, that second paragraph, talk about, you know, what it is that you're offering on the channel. Of course, if you want to, you can add your upload schedule in there. You can add, you know, any additional information that would add context to what it is that you do. For example, if you're like, hey, you know, the reason I'm making this content is because, you know, I want to make this type of difference in the world. And, you know, you're specific about what it is that you're trying to do. Add those types of things to your description, to your About Me page, because people look for that sort of thing. Let's see here as we keep going through the list here. Let's see. Hey, thank you. Golden Blue Dude says, love your content. I have a question. My biggest platform to promote is Facebook. Sometimes they suspend me when my views go down. What are other good ways to promote a video? The best ways is to make content that gets an organic response on YouTube. Depending on what it is that you make, there might be places on Reddit that you can share your content that, you know, those people are a great fit for your content. But outside of that, really just thinking like, okay, for the type of content that I make, where are those people online? Where do they hang out online? And this is really part of uncovering, like, you know, when it comes to the idea of like, you know, defining your audience and, you know, who it is that you make content for. Part of that process is like, okay, this is who now I know this is who I'm targeting with my content. And because of that, now I can think of, okay, this is who I'm trying to reach. Where do those people hang out online? So that, you know, if you want to interact with those people before they even come to your YouTube channel, or if you want to use that as a way to, you know, share some of your content or whatever, then you can do it in that way. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I don't have to make that video. Thank you, Daniel. To find which videos are performing best in search analytics, advanced mode, video tab, filter, upper left, traffic source, YouTube search. Okay. Thank you for that. So now I don't have to make the video about it. Thank you. Let's see here. So Nick talks about stormtroopers. I'm here. Okay. I do. I definitely do. So let's see here as we keep on going down. Nick, you were very much missed at Vid Summit. Hope to see you next year, sir. Daniel, your talk was awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. I really missed not being there. Like, you know, it's almost like this is going to sound really corny. For those of you that go there, for those of you that go to Vid Summit, you're going to understand this. But for those of you that haven't been to that or haven't been to any other conference that has like really like moved you or impacted you in a major way, then it won't make a lot of sense. It's going to sound corny, but for those of you that have been, you'll get it. Like I felt like I was watching like a family reunion that I was like behind this like glass wall that I just couldn't get to, right? Like I felt like I was watching that to where it's like, hey, you know, like I want to be there. I want to, you know, like these are all the people, like these are my homies, right? Like I want to be there like in this environment. And I'm like over here, just waiting for, like I'm watching the hashtag on Twitter and I'm just like, you know, watching and I'm like refreshing, just waiting for, you know, more photos to come out and things like that. So, sorry, yeah, I really missed being there, but I'll definitely be there next year. You know, global situation, you know, permitting, of course, but I'm pretty sure we'll be in the clear for next year, hopefully. Let's see here. So what's the best way, easiest way to cut down portions of a live stream into a separate YouTube video? So what I do, because I have a clips channel, you actually can see it at the very top of the chat right now, where I basically take highlighted clips of these live streams and I put them over there. What I do is I actually have somebody that I hire to go through the live streams, and then they cut out, you know, the clips that they think would be a good, you know, thing for that channel. And they cut them out, and then they, you know, add some graphics to them, things like that, and then they're good to go. So what I recommend is that either one, you can take a similar approach of actually finding somebody to do it, or for yourself, you can download your live streams directly out of YouTube, so you can pull them down that way. You can also, if you live stream through like StreamYard, for example, while I'm streaming this right now, they're recording it automatically in the background. So then after this stream, I can go in and I can download the audio by itself. I can download separate audio of any guests that I have on. I can download the actual video recording as well. But I can download everything about this live stream, and then I can, you know, edit everything down. You know, I can put it up on a podcast. I can, you know, cut out little clips to add on the clips channel, anything like that I want to do. So basically what you do in that case is you go through and you just figure out, you know, what it is that you actually want to cut out, and then you cut it out. And in some cases, you might need to make like an intro for it, or maybe an outro for it, something like that, in order to make it appropriate for, you know, for what it is that you're doing. But if you can work it into how it is that you're doing your live stream, that's even better. Like if you know, like, hey, this is going to be a clip, you can even do fun stuff like with this, right? Like this is not what this is for, this bell, but you could do this. If you're like, hey, this thing I'm getting ready to do, there's like, I know this is going to be a clip. So then in that case, you could be like, woo, you could make it like a thing, like, hey, I'm getting ready to make a thing here. And then, you know, hit the bell. And then when you do that, when you download your video, when you pull it into your video editing software, if you look at the WAV file, you'll see those big peaks in the audio. And then you can use that as like hey, here's a quick point. Instead of you having to watch, if your streams are long like mine or longer, then instead of having to watch through, you know, 3 hours worth of content or even an hour worth of content, you can just look through those spikes, and you'll know that those spikes are the places you can jump to cut the content out. Let's see here. Joni, thank you for the super chat. Says, glad to see you're still being amazing, Nick. Question for you. Is it a bad idea to release videos the same day of a live stream? I don't do it. As a matter of fact, when it comes to my my publishing, one of the things that I do is I try not to step on anything. Every now and then I will, but basically what I'll do is I try not to share anything in the community feed on the day that I publish or the day that I live stream. I don't publish a video on the same day that I live stream. I don't publish videos, you know, right on top of each other. I give everything space, either, you know, 24-hour space, or at least okay, this is, you know, what today is, and then I go to sleep, and then I wake up, and then I'm starting something else, or starting a new day. Then, you know, then I might do a community post there or something like that. But I definitely give, you know, time between things instead of just, you know, crushing it out. Some people crush it out and it works for them. So, you know, it's definitely, you know, something to experiment with if you need to do that. But there's also things to keep in mind if you want to do that. So for example, one of the features that we have here on YouTube with our live streams is we have the redirect feature. So if you wanted to, if you have an active live stream, one of the things that you could do, and I've considered doing this, and I might experiment with it actually here soon because I'm ramping up my production schedule. But basically, one of the things that you can do is you can actually have it default to a premiere or a video, but you can have it default to a premiere after your live stream. So then in that case, like as the live stream is coming to an end, you could be like, hey, you know, I got a video coming out, kind of hype up the whole thing so the people that are in the live stream are wanting to watch it. And then, you know, you basically send everybody there just automatically right there on their screen. As soon as you hit the end button, then it'll default over to that premiere. You have that premiere open, ready to go, and you can start interacting with people over there as they watch that. So if you were going to do it, that would be the approach that I would take versus like, hey, I'm going to do a video, I'm going to publish a video and then do the live stream. So another thing I'm experimenting with right now as well is So I would, that's an option for you. But one thing that I'm experimenting with now as well, because like I said before, I'm ramping up my production schedule. So I'm going to be publishing more on Mondays. So since I'm going to be publishing more on Mondays, that means that the replays for these aren't going to last as long. Typically, I would just leave them up. Now I'm starting to unlist these as I publish my next video. So like I'll leave it up, for a little bit, but then I'll unlist it right before I publish the next video, so that I make sure that that video is not, or that live stream isn't taking anything, that it doesn't even have a chance to take away anything, away from that new video that I'm getting ready to post. Let's see here. Daniel says, took him a second to remember how to do something there. Let's see here. Alpha Animation, I think would be a good name. Okay, here, let me jump back into the form. So here's the next question that we have here coming from the form is, let's see here, from I just name Jared Lead. I just my name. I'm not sure what that is. Says the channel will be lifestyle, travel, and motivation. Goal of the channel is personal branding and monetization. The question is, Nick, hope your morning is going well. It's actually evening for me. It's like 10 o'clock at night here where I am. I'm in Thailand right now. So yeah, it's actually 10 o'clock p.m. And I woke up like super early this morning as well. Says, I asked this question in the Facebook group, but haven't gotten a response yet. Please forgive me if this is not an appropriate question to ask during a live stream. I better read this one myself. Let's see here. Accounts disabled 3 years ago due to invalid traffic. Should I create another account? This time a business account, because regardless of business information on YouTube. Okay, so basically they had their account taken down due to invalid traffic, and they're asking if they should create another account. But this time is a business account, because regardless, they want their business information connected to YouTube. If regardless you want it connected to YouTube through your business account anyway, then yeah, I would definitely do that. Also, if I create a new account with my IP address from my other account, be attached to my new accounts, I don't want to risk a business account getting disabled too. So here's the thing. It's unfortunate, but this is the reality of the situation. And I'm just being transparent with you here. So in most cases, you're going to be perfectly fine, right? However, in the event that, that like you are running the risk, in the event that you lose a YouTube channel, in terms of you get a YouTube channel deleted or you get banned from, AdSense or something like that, when those types of things happen, then you do run the risk of basically by YouTube terms of service, if you have any of that, if you have your YouTube channel deleted, you're not allowed to have a new YouTube channel. Same exact thing goes with AdSense. If you violate something there, you're not allowed to have another AdSense account. So because of that, as soon as you have an issue like that, then, you are running a risk when you create the new stuff. That doesn't mean that you're going to get flagged for it, but it just means that be aware that because of the issue that you had before, you could be running the risk. And just as a heads up, because you're like, hey, because they have my IP address. So yeah, they have your IP address. They have the MAC address, from your computer. They have, if you have any Google apps in your phone, they know exactly where you're at. They know that they know it's you. so there's no getting around that. And if you get around it on the sign up process, you'll drop the ball somewhere, right? You'll drop the ball somewhere to where you'll log in without your VPN or whatever the thing is. You'll drop the ball somewhere. And they'll still know it's you. So because of that, you're in a situation to where you don't really have a choice. Like if you're, wanting to do YouTube and you're wanting to do the YouTube for your business and you're wanting to, connect everything, through your business account, if you are wanting to be on the YouTube, then you're going to have to go that direction and you're going to have to just roll the dice. You should know in a relatively fast amount of time if it's going to be an issue or not. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got Delusional Bob. Love this channel name. I love when there's channel names that make me like stop for a second. Like Delusional Bob is one of those channel names. Magic Flying Potato is another one of those names. To where it's just it's like the first time you say it, it just stands out, right? Like those, I love those channel names. Okay, so let's see here. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to become a well-known channel and entertain millions of people. And the question is, hey, Nick, how are you? How are you so comfortable on camera? I thought they were asking how I was. Nope. How are you so comfortable on camera, and how do you learn to become comfortable and entertaining? It's something I struggle with often. I'm not sure what to say when I do videos, so any advice would be great. So this is an awesome question. Who here is not comfortable on camera? I see it here, Doug. Thank you. I'll get that right here in a second. Thank you. Who here is not comfortable on camera? So basically, just a heads up, I'm comfortable on camera now. But when I first started, just like you, I was not comfortable on camera at all. As a matter of fact, I almost didn't start my YouTube channel. For those of you that have watched a lot of my content and seen like interviews and stuff, like that's, this story is going to be kind of repetitive to you. But when I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't want to like, I was like, yeah, I do not want to be, a person on camera. And I almost didn't do YouTube because of it. And then when I first started making videos, I started making videos in a way that, that I thought that I should make them based on other YouTube videos that I watched. I wasn't doing me. I was doing my interpreted version of what I thought that I should be doing. Right. And what happened is I kept doing that for quite some time. And through practice, as I started, doing that more and more, and then I ended up leaving this channel, going working on another channel for a while, and still going through that process, right, on that other channel. And after, a nice handful of videos, like I was comfortable, but I still wasn't fully doing my version of me, right? Like I was like, okay, I got to make sure I'm doing, things like kind of this way. And what kind of changed for me in terms of the comfort is I started changing the way that I do things in terms of how I actually record the videos. So basically, when I was doing scripts, I would actually be uncomfortable because I would be, looking at the script and then, the portion of the script that I was going to say, and then I would look at the camera and I would be so focused on, what it is that I'm supposed to say in the script that I wouldn't actually be communicating in my natural way. And because of that, it made me stiff and it made, me come across stiff in those videos as well. But when I started working off of, bullet points or bullet points with notes attached to them, then in that case, I started communicating in a more natural way. And when I started communicating in that more natural way, it started making me more comfortable. And then people started actually responding to my content better as well. So, so when it comes to getting comfortable on camera, a few things that I want you to think about. One is that if you go to any of your favorite YouTube content creators, doesn't matter what genre of content that they make, if they started their YouTube channel, go and look at their first videos that they uploaded. As long as they're still there on the channel, go look at the first videos that they uploaded and you're going to be blown away by the progress. A couple of examples that I want to give you is one, mine. But to be check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I know my mic just went out. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? How about now? How about now? How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, you can't hear me now. Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, all right. Woo! Okay, we're back. But basically, when it'll be blotchy for a second, I think, and then it should smooth out and be okay. Oh, it's still sounding cracked, jumbled, cracking up. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll just refresh. 1 second. Okay. So so we should be better. We should be better now. Okay, so let's see here. So let me first just make sure that it's all still connected to the right thing here in StreamYard, and it is. Okay. So but what I was getting at though is thinking about the way that you do things and doing things in a way that makes you feel comfortable is a huge help when it comes to actually making the videos. Because when you're making content, and this kind of falls into the thing that we were talking about before in terms of people talking about like imposter syndrome. It's like if you're doing things in the way that isn't like really reflective of you and how you operate and how you think and how you do everything, then in that case that imposter syndrome is probably going to be pretty heavy because you're not actually being your authentic self. You're being this like this presentation version of yourself, this version of yourself that you think people want to see. So because of that, just some really quick tips that I recommend is one, you got to practice. Like that's part of the gig. If you want to get good at anything, you got to practice it. But two, experiment with how you're actually recording your videos. Another thing that people will do a lot is they will just make one big long video and they think they have to be perfect during that whole video. And they think like, oh, how do YouTubers do this? I keep messing up. I keep saying the wrong things. I keep tripping over myself. And when you do that, you start building up this frustration. And when you start building up that frustration, it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you angry. It makes you mad at yourself. It kind of makes you feel bad. So one thing that I want you to understand is that everybody does that, right? Like everybody, has to do multiple takes. Everybody has to do that stuff. Some people are really good at like one takes, but in some cases, you can see like, okay, they should have edited that part out or whatever, but some people are good at one takes. But when you're putting your, stuff together, just keep in mind, you can record in clips and just be like, hey, I'm just working on this one clip right now. I'm not working on the whole video. I'm working on one clip. And once that's done, then I'm moving to the next clip. And I'm just going to, be as my, most authentic self as I'm recording all this stuff. The second thing is when you are recording your videos, I also really encourage you to have some type of ritual that you do before you record. So like for me, for example, I'll have like a coffee. In some cases, I'll even shower beforehand, depending on, if it's like at night that I'm recording, then I'll, just take a shower just so I feel fresh, fresh and like extra clean. Like if I had been out or something like that, I'll take a shower, I'll drink a coffee. In some cases, I'll do like a quick, like 5-minute meditation or something like that, just to kind of get my, get my zone right in my brain. And then, I'll go for it. I also have a thing that I do to where, I turn my aircon down to like 22 degrees instead of the 23 that it's normally at as well. Like I'll do those sorts of things too. But basically, if you get some type of ritual together, then what you do there is you start actually preparing your brain for the recording. And as you keep making videos and you keep practicing, then that ritual kind of helps get your brain and your mind into the right state for when you're actually making the content. And other little details. For me, and this is going to sound kind of like hippie, but it's okay. I don't care. Is another thing that I also like to do as part of like my process in some cases is I'll even like light incense. And I'll light incense, and not in like a woo-woo kind of way, but just because for whatever reason, and I think it's just from like my in my 20s, and things like that. For whatever reason, like when I smell incense, it just makes me feel like comfortable and at ease. And it's actually very specific, like a few very specific instances, but it just makes me feel comfortable and at ease. And it's just some connection, with my, how my brain interprets that. But, those little things as well, can also help you get into the right, mind frame. But another thing also, one more thing is the most important is to just not beat yourself up, because, especially like if you are, just getting rolling and all this stuff. Like I put out a video recently showing like an uncut version of my process and showing, what it is that I go through, and you should watch that just to kind of see, the process that I go through. But in addition to that, just keep in mind that you are learning a new skill. And, you need to be easy on yourself as you're learning that new skill and understand that like, hey, this is something new to me. And since this is something new to me, I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have to do stuff over and over again. I'm going to, there's going to be, things along this path that are going to be challenging for me, and just kind of embrace that whole idea instead of letting it like weigh on you. Just embrace it. Like, hey, I'm new at this. It's fine if I'm uncomfortable right now. Like how often, I mean, now it's more normal for people to walk around on selfies, things like that. But just think to yourself, like, like, hey, I can, like this is all new to me. I don't, it's like, I don't normally sit in a room and just talk out loud to myself, right? This whole thing is new to me. So it's okay. If I'm a little uncomfortable right now, and you'll work through it. Hey, Dean Emmons in the house. What's up, bro? Hope you're doing awesome, man. Yeah, my brother sacrifices goats. Like that's part of his process. Oh, love it. And it's a goat. Sorry, I said goats as in multiples, but apparently it's one goat, not multiples. Okay, so let's hear. Next question that we have here. This one's actually a super chat that came through. This is from Nick's Fan TV. Says, great job as usual, Nick. What do you use to download your streams? I use Clip Grab, but looking for backup. Saturday Gems. Love the show. I'm at 42,000 subscribers. High five, fist bump to you. Nice work on 42,000. These things getting out of control. Absolutely out of control. I want things to stabilize here a little bit in terms of the situation that we're dealing with in the world right now, so that I can have like an electric person come in here and actually like give my place a once over, because something weird is happening in this room specifically. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff on for electronics, but yeah, I want an electric person to come here, but I just can't have them. I'm just not allowing anyone in my place right now at at this moment in time. Okay, so let's see here as we keep on going here. So we have, hey, Marcus Shrub says, fantastic advice. Thank you. Thank you, Marcus, for the super chat. Glad that you got some value out of that. So, so really quick, if you have a question about YouTube, go ahead and drop it in the chat right now. And make sure you put a Q in front of your question, so I know it's for me. And then we will see what we can get pulled up here. Jade says my audio is on strike for the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Yeah, you know how like in the news in the States, how they're saying that like people don't want to work or whatever. Yeah, my audio is kind of like that. Yeah, my audio is like, hey, sorry, buddy. You know, I'm not having that. I'm not having that right now. Yeah, an electric person, an electrician, an electric person. Fly Ride, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Let's see here. Citron Z Overlord. I feel like I should like bow to you for some reason. I don't know if it's the Overlord thing. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but like, I just have this like I feel like I should bow. Says, how can I collab with people easier other than collab space? Also, is there a way that I can increase my views a bit faster? I upload games and other YouTubers upload the same game. Their views are better. So their views are better. That means all that translates into is they're getting a better response from their content than you are. And the whole game with YouTube is to get a great response from the users of the platform that you're trying to target with your gaming content. So the difference there is that, you know, when people are uploading videos on the same topic, they're able to get people to click more. They get people to watch their videos for longer periods of time. They're able to get more engagement on their stuff. They're able to get more people sharing it. They're able to get more people to the end, clicking on more of their videos. They're able to get more people coming back to the channel on a regular basis, things like that. So they're doing just a better job. And I'm just being transparent here. I'm not insulting you, but I'm just saying they're doing a better job at YouTube than you are right now. Doesn't mean that you can't excel and that you can't like beat them eventually, or that you can't just like, you know, just make good content that also gets as good of a response. But right now, the difference is that they're just getting a better response than you are. Therefore, they continue to get the views to where you might publish your videos and then they drop off real quick. They continue to get that response because when YouTube shows their content to people, people click on it a lot. They come in, they interact with the content in terms of watching it for a long period of time and other engagement signals. And then YouTube detects that people are enjoying it. And therefore, it keeps showing it to more and more people until people stop having that type of response. So that's what's going on. In terms of collaboration, collab space is awesome. But if you are like, hey, I want to find other ways, you can, of course, start interacting with people on Twitter. I've seen a lot of collaborations open up that way. You can also, every YouTube channel, if it's set up properly, also has a business inquiry email. You can also, you know, email people. So if you have content creators that you want to collaborate with, you can shoot them an email and see if they're open to collaboration. Instead of just shooting an email saying, hey, you want to collab? I would definitely put together a plan of some kind, talk about the video that you want to make and why they're a good fit for it, things like that. And just give them a little bit of detail. Don't go overboard, but just give them a little bit of detail of the idea that you have for the collaboration. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if it is a goat free zone. That's a really good question. Yeah, D might be able to answer. Might be able to answer that one. Okay, so let's see here. Let me keep on trucking here through this, and I'm actually going to have another thing of coffee.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Hey, one more thing as well, as I just want to remind you, I mentioned this one time at the beginning of the stream, and we've been going for like an hour here. So actually 2 hours already. Wow. So I want to remind you, just in case you don't know this. So for those of you that interact with my stuff a lot, you already know I have a website called tubertools.com. On that website during this live stream and really over the next 24 hours, because it expires tomorrow. So over the next 24 hours, for those of you that are participating in this live stream right now, 50% off of anything that you want off of Tuber Tools. So what you need to do is if there's anything that you want over there at tubertools.com, just add it to your cart. And then when you're checking out, just use the words live now. Make sure that you don't put a space in between two words, but just live now. I actually put it in the chat here. And by doing that, it will cut the cost in half for you. So if there's anything that you've looked at the website for and you're like, hey, I want that, but it's too expensive right now, or whatever, now you can go there and you'll be able to get it for half the price. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure that you head over to tubertools.com and check that out. And just a heads up, that's for the store. That's not for the membership area. That's a whole other thing. That's for the store. That's the store itself. Let's see here. Tom says, love the production quality. I don't know how you do it. You're on your own. Yeah. So luckily StreamYard makes it easy. The A10 Mini Pro makes it easy. But sometimes I drop the ball a little bit, just in terms of like, the thought, my train of thought will end up kind of getting derailed or whatever. But most of the time it's just kind of, go here, do this, go here, do this, keep an eye on this type of thing. So it's not as complicated as it might seem, if you're watching, because a lot of it's happening on autopilot. Let's see here. How does a thumbs down on your video actually work? Does that hurt the channel or the video? It's feedback, it's engagement, so it's okay. However, if somebody gives your video a thumb down, it's possible that, YouTube might detect that as like, hey, this person isn't into the content, therefore they might not show that person your video. But if that person ends up watching the whole video, but they give it a thumbs down, then in that case, they might actually show, that video to, your content to them again. But the idea is that, it's definitely engagement, but, thumbs down are a natural thing on YouTube because not everybody agrees. Not every thumbs down is a troll. Sometimes people just don't like, maybe you spent too long on an intro and people are like, don't like that. Or maybe, you had too many ads in your video and people are like, hey, don't like that. Maybe it is a troll. Maybe you said something in the video that, that bothered somebody, or that they took personally. They give you thumbs down for that. It's just part of the thing. So I wouldn't like worry about it. But if you start noticing like, hey, I'm just getting tons and tons of downvotes or thumbs down, then in that case, you might want to try to think of why that might be happening.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. Book of Alpharonomy.
Super chat.
Says, Salud, Nick, appreciate your work. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. So let's see here. Next up, we've got, I want to change my channel from gaming to filmmaking. Any name recommendations? Okay, let's do a group think here. Everybody, get your typing fingers ready. We have somebody here that needs a channel name. So it's Lux. They're going from gaming to filmmaking. Anybody have any ideas for a filmmaking name? Go ahead and drop it into the chat right now. And hopefully it's Lux. You'll be able to pull some inspiration from that. Let's see. Okay, so we did that one already. Make sure if you have a question that you put a Q in front of it. There you go. Is it okay to download older, less viewed videos and republish them? If you delete them, technically you could do that, but I wouldn't. Like, the best thing you can do is if it doesn't perform, like the reason that it's less viewed is because it didn't perform well. So since it didn't perform well, you would actually be better off making a new piece of content. And, since you know how to do it better now, make a new piece of content and publish that on the same topic versus like, hey, this didn't do well, so I'm going to re-upload it. If you're on the short shelf and that's all you were doing, then in that case, that might be something to consider, a little bit compared to just normal content. But if you are, not only doing shorts, then in that case, I personally wouldn't take that approach. What is the best time to post? Should we post when everyone else does or at other times? So in your YouTube analytics, they actually show you when the people that are interacting with your content are currently online. Keep in mind that if you don't have a lot of videos out there yet, if you consistently publish on, let's say like Monday at a certain time, then in that case, you might end up finding that your published times end up being that time when people are, typically online most. But as you start getting more consistent views coming in and things like that, then you'll start to notice that, the other areas will start filling up. When that happens, then you'll notice in that graph, basically, if you go into your audience tab, that's where it'll show you on YouTube. But basically in that graph, it'll show you when your viewers are online. So if you're live streaming, it's really important to make sure that you are streaming when, those viewers are online. But if you're uploading video content, then you want to publish that content like right as they're coming online so that you can ride that wave, like for that initial day of the video. but you want to use, the back end of YouTube for that. Another thing as well is you want to think about other little details as well. So for example, if you are targeting like certain demographics, you want to think about, okay, like the lifestyles of the people that you might be trying to reach as well. So like if you are going after just an extreme example that I like to give here, because everybody can understand it, is if you are making content that is going after like single parents, right? You're trying to help single parents. That's your target demographic. Then in that case, publishing while those single parents would be, busy in the morning, getting ready, getting themselves ready to go to work, getting their kids ready to go out to school, plus, managing anything else that they have to do, in that morning thing. In that particular case, publishing during that particular time for that initial time zone that you're after might not be, the best approach. So you just want to also just consider those types of things like, okay, the content that I'm making, the lifestyle that those people might lead. Is there anything obvious and glaring like in that situation that I need to make sure that I'm considering? Okay, so let me hop back into the forum here for this one, and then we'll end up coming back in here as well. And I saw this other super chat come in. I will get to that right here in a second from this guy Jeff. So let's see here. It's Fake Leaf says that they do Minecraft and gaming content. The goal of the channel is to entertain people. And the question is, how do you always think of a new video topic that no other YouTuber has ever done before, and it will always be interesting and entertaining? So if you're going to do that, like you really have to get creative. So if you're making Minecraft and gaming content, then in that case, you would be building things that no one's ever built before. So, I would just scour through, anything that's popular that you could build that people might be interested in and build those things. When it comes to, other types of content, then of course, it really comes down to your creativity. One thing that can be helpful is when you're looking at YouTube, look at YouTube through three different lenses. One lens is as a viewer, you're just watching videos, having fun. Another lens is like a research lens, like you're watching videos and you're not necessarily watching those videos because you're there to be entertained. You're watching those videos to see why people like those videos, right? You're looking at how people are on their thumbnails, so like how they're putting their titles together. Like, why am I clicking on this one, right? And then you want to see like how these people start in their videos, how often are they cutting their videos, things like that. Are they doing anything in their videos that's cool that I might be able to, be inspired by for my stuff? Like, you want to look and just kind of, just watch videos through that lens. The other lens, of course, is looking at videos and video topics that are not related to your content and saying, okay, so even though I'm making Minecraft content, I'm watching Nick Nimmin's videos, and Nick Nimmin just put out a video about this thing, about these things that will get your YouTube channel deleted, right? So is there a way that I would be able to make a similar type of video for my Minecraft audience? Like these things, I'm not from like I've played Minecraft, but I'm not familiar with it enough to really nail this reference. But like as an example, like when you're building stuff, I don't know, for you Minecrafters in here, you can correct me on this, but I don't know if you build something, if you do it wrong, if it ends up falling down or anything like that. But just as an example, if you can do that, or if you can't, using my video as like a, hey, these are the things that'll get your channel deleted, looking at that and thinking like, okay, people responded to this well. I wonder if I made a video about, these, mistakes in Minecraft will cause your, the things you build to collapse, or, whatever it is. And just kind of, using the other content that you're seeing that's outside of the content that you make, seeing what other people are doing and using that as inspiration. I do that all the time. And the reason I do that all the time is because it's effective, and it really helps you come up with really good ideas. Like I'm going into my photos here, and I'm going to show you really quick. Like I just captured one the other day. Yeah, right here. So this one right here. So his video is titled "How to Be Miserable for the Rest of Your Life." Epic video, by the way, but it's called "How to Be Miserable for the Rest of Your Life." So like I screen capped that. The reason I screen capped that is because I was like, man, what a title that is, right? So what a title that is. So that's good. That's going to go in my Notion, which is, I mean, it's in there already. But like in basically, like I have a Notion, and in my Notion, I have like one group in there, whatever you want to call it, that or folder in there that is nothing but thumbnails and titles, and it's all the inspiration stuff that I'm talking about. So so I can use that if I'm like feeling like, hey, I'm just not feeling creative today, I'm a little bit off, whatever. Then in that case, I can go in there and I can be like, oh yeah, I should make this video, or I should make a spin-off of something like this, as it would relate to YouTube content creators. So using those types of things can be really advantageous to to help you be inspired to take like a concept from another, from outside of your space and just thinking of how you could rework it for just a unique piece of content for your audience. Let's see here. Okay. So the super chat that came in, this guy Jeff says, "Hey Nick, I'm in Florida and I've made some theme park videos. Any tips on making fresh content and something that you're passionate about, but it's saturated? Be the best that you possibly can." Like everything on YouTube is, I'm not everything, but most things on YouTube are saturated. In terms of a lot of people make content about a lot of things on YouTube. However, the thing to always remember is nobody makes the content like you do, right? Nobody has the personality that you do. Nobody has the same sense of humor that you do. Nobody's going to crack the same jokes that you do. When you're showing these theme parks, you're not going to show the same exact things that somebody else is going to show, right? There's going to be some overlap at a theme park, but you're going to focus on things. There's going to be things that are going to be way more important to you than that are important to other content creators who do theme park content. So, because of that, even though you are competing in a saturated space, the you part of it is the part that, nobody can replicate. So because of that, you're topically talking about things that people, talk about a lot, but, like nobody can replicate the you part of that. So because of that, that is the thing that makes topics on YouTube not saturated. I guarantee you that as we're having this conversation, there's probably somebody out there that's thinking about starting a theme park channel. There's probably a bunch of people that have or that are thinking about it. Over the next year, some of those people are going to end up, growing their channels, substantially. Some of those people are not. And it's all going to come down to the approach they take, how intentional they're being, how much they're trying to get better, those types of things. That's going to be the defining factor on the people that, end up doing well and the people that don't. So in it being saturated, it's going to continue to get saturated. It's going to continue to get more saturated. However, the thing that's going to help you connect with the people that are into the theme park stuff, compared to the other content, is you. And there's going to be people there's going to be tons of people that are going to watch your content and a bunch of the other people that make that content too, because they like that type of content, right? So there's going to be a lot of overlap there, and that's a good thing. But in addition to that, there's going to be some people that'll watch you more because they like the way that you do it. So embrace that side of things.
Super
Jack Pop Laser, love that channel name, says, Joke Pop Laser says, "Hey, thanks. I've learned from you. I'm getting monetized. High five, fist bump to you. Nice work on getting monetized. Love it. Absolutely love it." So let's see here. What mic do you use? A bunch of different ones. This one is a Shure SM7B. Do I have that one where I can actually pin it just in case somebody comes in here? Yeah, right here. Okay. So this mic is a Shure SM7B. In addition to that mic, I use a Rode NTG3, I think this one is. Yeah, Rode NTG3 as a boom microphone for some of my videos. I also use the Rode VideoMic Pro for some of my videos. I also have a Deity microphone that I use for some of my videos as well. I also have, over in that area back over there, I have a AKG 3000, I think it is, that I'll use for like the music stuff. And then we also have, basically when my brother's here, because he's in Mexico right now, but when he's here, we have another studio that we go to for these live streams. And over there, we use Rode Procasters, is the stuff that we use over there. Let's see here. Excuse me. Next question. I'm going to pull from the chat here as well. Make sure you put a Q. Here we go. Shannon DC says, "Good, easy to use software for editing." So this is a good question. So in terms of easy, that's going to come down to, like how familiar are you with very specific tools, things like that. So I'm just going to give you a few options. The very first one is, I got Nick's Fam TV. Yeah, I got his already, Doug. Thank you. But software for editing. So if you're just getting started, and if you're going to be doing like video content, plus you're going to do like screen recordings, that kind of stuff, you're going to be doing like a lot of that type of thing. Camtasia is really easy to use. Like I've got them on my monitor over here. They're a sponsor of the channel. I've been using Camtasia since 2014. to do a bunch of different things on my channel. But basically over that time, I used to use them just for screen recordings. Now I'll mix the screen recording and editing. So basically my approach with Camtasia is that I will do like if I do a screen recording video, then in that case, since I'm screen recording it, I'll edit those and I will do the screen recording. But I'm like, okay, well, I've got most of the content there already. So I'll basically put a head and tail on this, maybe drop in some inserts, and I'll just go ahead and just edit this all together in Camtasia because it's faster. And then for my regular stuff, usually I'll send that to Vigard to edit. But if I do it myself, these days I do it in Premiere Pro. Now, Premiere Pro for a lot of people is intimidating. But it's intimidating because, you know, there's a lot of features. When the interface first opens up, it's a little bit confusing to where Camtasia is just easy, you know, to understand. But like Premiere, it's like a full blown, like, you know, professional video editing software. So because of that, you know, there's no limits essentially to what it is that you can do in there. I mean, there is in terms of like animation and stuff, but like it's for editing, general editing, it'll do all the stuff that you got to do. But there's a steep learning curve for Premiere. So if you're looking for easy, I would go with Camtasia. There's also like apps, you know, that you can use as well on your phone. If you're looking for easy, a lot of the apps are relatively easy to use because they have to make them easy, you know, because they're going for scale with those things. So yes, I would use Camtasia. Let's see here. So how do I turn my channel back to life? No matter how I do it and what kind of videos that I post, no views. That's a good question. And that's a tough one too, because, you know, like when it comes to YouTube, like if you're not getting results, that comes down to people not responding well to your content. And if people aren't responding well to your content, it's not that YouTube is doing anything or that they're not doing anything. It's more that the content that you're making just it's just not getting a response. So because of that, what you need to do is you need to go into your content for any of the views that you've gotten and try to figure out like, okay, what is it about this that, you know, that people, you know, are not responding to, and start being, you know, really intentional. I'm actually scrolling through here so I can actually open your channel, trying to find it. Let's see here. Course is the name, and it was relatively down here to the bottom. Okay, so I'm not going to pop the channel open, but basically, like if people aren't responding to it, then you're not going to get any traction at all. So it could come down to like your titles aren't good. It could come down to like your thumbnail. Like if you're not getting any views, like 0, then you need to work on your titles and thumbnails because that means you're not even able to get people to click. So because of that, like start there. And when it comes to working on your titles and thumbnails, it's easy for me to say, just broadly, start working on your titles and thumbnails, right? So let me give you some actionable things that you can do. So right out of the gate, be very clear on where it is that you're putting the things in your title that will help the people that you're trying to reach identify that content is for them. Any trigger words, any keywords, anything like that, make sure that it's as close to the front of the title as possible. YouTube cuts off titles. Hey, we got PJ in here from Uscreen. What's up, dude? Long time no talk. I hope that you're doing awesome. High five and fist bump, man. I hope that you are doing, great, man. Yeah, right here. Yeah, PJ is awesome. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Uscreen or not. I made videos for them quite a while back. It was like last year, I think, or year before. Awesome service that they have over there. But PJ is awesome. The whole team over there is great. What was I talking about? Titles. Okay. So it's just some things to think about. One is that your thumbnail matters. Your thumbnail, instead of just putting a bunch of stuff in your thumbnail, which is what a lot of people do, just try to think from the perspective of one, does my thumbnail help the people that are trying to find the type of content that I'm making or that are interested in the type of content that I'm making? Does my thumbnail help them identify that this is something that they might care about? So instead of just putting like your logo on there or, you know, having, you know, something like that, you know, make sure that you're focused on the imagery that would help the people that you're trying to connect with identify it's for them. The example that I like to give for this one is that if you are making content about baseball or football or something like that, then in that case, even if you're sitting in an environment like I am, even if you're in a spaceship and you are talking to people via the internet on Earth, then in that particular case, I would still, if I'm talking about baseball, I would still put something related to baseball in my thumbnail, you know, the imagery, be it, you know, a baseball itself, or be it, you know, something that would help, you know, people that are into baseball identify that that video has something to do with baseball, so that it'll stop them, grab their attention. It's like, hey, this is, I love baseball. This is something I'm interested in. Therefore, you help them identify that your content's something they care about. And then your title, first, keep in mind that your title and thumbnail work together as a team. So like that grabs their attention. And depending on what you're doing with your thumbnails, the type of content that you create, you might be able to pull them through just with your thumbnail. But your thumbnail is one part of that puzzle, but then you also have your title. So what you want to think about there is, this is what's going on in my thumbnail. So what can I do with my title that's going to be compelling and also help the people identify that this is also, something that they care about, even more, and also be compelling enough to get them to actually click on it, and then try to squeeze all of that within the first 50 characters, because your titles get cut off in different places on YouTube. So, so because of that, when you're writing your titles, you just want to make sure you're thinking of those things. And as another quick best practice tip for you, if you have any episode numbers, channel names, anything like that you add to your titles, make sure you put that stuff at the very end. Anything that is not the most important for the viewer that you're trying to reach, put it at the end of your title if you're gonna put that kind of stuff in your titles. So that's what I mean in terms of working on your titles. So I would definitely watch videos on, that sort of thing. Okay. So yeah, original thumbnail is fine. But what I'm saying is that you want to use, imagery that helps them realize that it's baseball. That's what I'm saying. So like, for example, this right here, if I had this in a thumbnail, that would help people identify that this video was about baseball, right? That's what I mean. Okay, so let's see here. So Motive Gaming says, you would have to know where the streamers get their custom overlays from. Streamers like Dr. Lupo, I'm not familiar with him. I'm not familiar with actually any of the ones that you mentioned. I'm interested in getting some custom overlays myself. So if you want custom, if you're using something like Streamlabs, then in that case, I know that like Nerd or Die has that kind of stuff. If you're using StreamYard, then you want to go to streamertemplates.com. If you're using something like Ecamm, then you want to go to etemplates.com. Those aren't like motion and stuff like that. They're graphics that you use. But if you're looking for motion overlays, like if you're talking about people that are using motion stuff, if you use Nerd or Die and places like that, then you can get like kits from them. But if you want something fully 100% custom, I recommend that you hop onto that you hop onto Reddit, and that you go into the YouTube subreddits there. And there's actually people that will drop in from time to time offering those types of services, to where they do like custom graphics and things like that. If my memory serves me, and I'm a little bit of a mess tonight in terms of my memory, but if my memory serves me, there might be a post like right now in the YouTubers Facebook or subreddit to where somebody's offering that service like right now. In addition to that, of course, you can hop on like Fiverr.com. Even though the website's called Fiverr.com, things are a little bit more expensive over there these days, but you can get like animated graphics over there as well. We've got some inside of tubertools.com, which is my website, but they're not customizable though. So if you're wanting like full custom stuff, then in that case, I would hit Reddit. I would hit Fiverr.com, see if you can find something there. And out of those things, that should get you taken care of. Let's see here. I'm a parody artist, and I've tried to promote my songs on my own, but nothing is working. Is there any advice on how to promote my songs and get more views? Absolutely. So if you're a parody artist, then hopefully you are doing songs that are on, or you're making parody songs about things that are like pop culture related things, so that you can hop on like trends and that sort of thing. So the idea with that is that you have things that are already popular, right? And then you use those things that are already popular to you kind of leverage that stuff to bring attention to the things that you're doing that, that people haven't discovered yet, because people haven't discovered your channel yet. So you use those popular things to bring attention to, as kind of like a bridge of sorts that leads people into what it is that you're doing based on the interest that they have around that popular thing. So, so for example, if you're on parody songs, if there's a popular artist that comes out for the demographic of songs that you make, or the demographics for the people that are listening to the type of songs that you make, for those people, then in that case, I would definitely be on Google Trends all the time. And I would also be in any type of like music type of group or anything like that you can find, so that you can make sure that you know what's coming, right? So then that way, if it's like, hey, you know, this, and I'll just use like The Weeknd, for example. So it's like, hey, The Weeknd just, you know, they just dropped this thing, this new song. So then you know that it's coming, so that, you know, hey, on this day at this time, this song's going to drop, it drops. And then you're like, okay, this is the song. I'm going to make a parody version of it as fast as I possibly can. So as people are pouring onto the internet, pouring onto YouTube, they're like, oh, The Weeknd's got a song. A week later, oh, I didn't even know The Weeknd had a new song come out. And then they're, you know, hopping on YouTube looking around for it. If people really enjoy your parody, then in some cases it can end up showing up like right next to like official videos and stuff like that. So so because of that, I would definitely go after things that are trending, or at the very least things that are, you know, a lot, like very popular. Let's see here. Fit Dad Chris says, what colors are top attention grabbers for thumbnails? I thought my blue theme on my channel was nice, but maybe I should change it. So typically, just in general, oops, I hit the wrong button. Just in general, red, yellow, orange are all very attention grabbing colors. If you go into like fluorescence, then of course, like, you know, pinks, greens, you know, things like that as well are also. But in terms of like the most attention grabbing for a thumbnail, it's not necessarily about, you know, just using like a color, like just using like one color. I mean, in some cases it can, but in most cases, it's not going to be like, oh, hey, now I have this splash of green in my thumbnail, so all of a sudden people are going to start clicking on it. It's not about that. It's more that you're using your thumbnail to help people identify what you're doing. So like in your case, because you're doing fitness related things, like I would focus on fitness imagery, because I wouldn't even worry about like graphics and things. Like I wouldn't even worry about that. Like I would be like, hey, I'm showing people how to do a bicep. I'm going to experiment for a period of time with just making thumbnails, you know, to where you just see the biceps. And then by doing that, you're going to make things easy on yourself. But two, you're just going to use your thumbnail to help people identify that, you know, this is the thing that we're talking about, you know, related to fitness. And then use your title as the thing that you actually use to pull them over. Let's see. How do I get people to hit the sub button? I have a lot of non-subscribers that watch my content, but the new subscribers to how many actually sub is low. What's a good call to action? Telling people what it is that you offer is the good call to action. So basically, when you are asking people to subscribe, you don't want to, like when your video starts, you don't want to be like, hey, what's going on? Because you'll see this a lot on YouTube. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Before we get this video started, I want you to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button, right? Like people will do that all the time. And what you got to think of is okay, as I'm coming into this video, if you're a kid, then, you know, that's a little bit more acceptable. But if you're not a kid, then in that case, when you're coming into a video, it's like, you know, it's like, okay, that added nothing to this content, right? So all you did when you opened this video is you just wasted my time through that. Like, you haven't even hooked me yet. Like, I don't even know what's going on here. Like, you just started your video with that. Like, I don't even know what's going on. So what you want to think about is when you're asking people to subscribe, you want to lead them into it. So instead of just saying subscribe, tell them why they should subscribe, right? So like if there's something unique that you offer on your channel, like you want to think of your value proposition overall, and you want to have that as part of your subscribe call to action. So, you know, for more, fill in the blank, remember to subscribe, right? It's that easy. So the idea is that you set it up ahead of time, letting people know like, hey, this is the type of content that I make, right? By saying for more, fill in that blank, right? And then you drop the call to action to subscribe. And by doing that by itself, then you'll increase your view to subscriber ratio. Now, in addition to that, keep in mind, just saying that if people aren't enjoying the content isn't going to do anything for you, right? Just saying like, oh, hey, subscribe. If people don't enjoy what it is that you're doing, if they're not having that great experience with your content, then they're not going to subscribe just because you're telling them to. So because of that, it's really good to make sure that either one, you lead them into that in a really awesome way, or two, that you just kind of work that casually into your content somewhere. So as you're going through your content, like let's say you just drop a really good tip about something, or if you're playing a game, let's say that you just did something really cool in the game. Use that as an opportunity because you're pumped up about it. They just, got to have a cool experience, whatever. Use that heightened emotional moment to be like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. I'm going to start doing these like all the time. Hey, to see me do this again next week, make sure you hit the subscribe button, right? So then that way, like what you do is you just kind of blend it into what it is that you're doing. And then you just keep going on. So you don't spend tons of time on it. You just do it kind of like in passing, like, hey, see more like this, make sure to subscribe, and then you keep going on with whatever it is that you're doing. Doug Houston says, just to remind people that Nick's members group is awesome. I know I've been there for 39 months. Nice, Doug. Nice. Thank you, man. Freaking awesome says, thank you for your support, Nick. Thank you for yours as well. Freaking awesome. I appreciate it. And this one just got retracted. Whatever that one was, it just got retracted there on that particular one. Interesting. Is this not updating? It's not. Interesting. Okay. So let's see here. Change channel name or create a new account. If you've got a bunch of content on the channel and you're going to be going in a different direction, I'd create a new account. If you are like, hey, I'm just kind of getting started. I'm just starting to, kind of hone in on what it is I'm going to offer and all of that. Then in that case, I would just go ahead and keep it on the same account, but change the name. Yami Hiss says, I'm also a writer and I have beta readers that give me feedback. How can I get a group like that, but for my video? So you should create that. You should create that group with other YouTube content creators. And you create that group with other YouTube content creators who make similar content. You can do it with people that make different content. But basically the feedback that you're going to get data from YouTube as you're publishing your videos. If you look in your audience or if you look in your analytics, inside of your analytics, you have something called your audience retention report. In your audience retention report, that shows you a second-by-second graph of how people respond to what it is that you're doing. So what you do there is you see that graph and you're like, okay, people are leaving here. They're leaving here. I held them here. They're leaving here. I got them here. They skipped this part right here. Wow. I've got this like spike here and then it has like a little thing here. So they rewound in that part. So like, what was I doing in this part? But basically the idea is to go through and actually track how people are responding there. And you can watch the video as you're seeing this. And when you are doing that, start thinking to yourself like, okay, why did people leave in this part? Why do I think people hung during this part? When I was, when people were sticking around during this part, what was I doing? What was I talking about? Was I showing? Was I doing a lot of different things on screen? Was it just me sitting there talking? Was it just other, things on the screen? Like what was actually happening that kept people watching? And you just keep collecting that information. And then as you're collecting that information, you're going to get a lot of insights into how people en masse are responding to what it is that you're doing. And then you start fine tuning your content for the better response based on all of that information that you're collecting. And as you do that, then your content just gets better and better and better over time. And then you'll hit a point to where it's like, wow, now my videos are starting to get consistent views because they're performing better on the platform in terms of people clicking on them, coming in, watching the videos and getting a good experience from them compared to when you're just getting started, where it might be a little bit more difficult. But if you do want other people to give you feedback on your videos, it's really important to keep in mind that if it's just a bunch of new YouTubers and they're like, oh, hey, let's all, give each other feedback on our videos that, and you can see this all over Reddit and some Facebook groups too, but just keep in mind that the feedback that you're going to get, I would take it with a grain of salt because when people are giving you feedback, they're giving you feedback based on, like their biases, based on what it is that they think is funny, based on what it is that they think is entertaining, things like that. But if those people that are giving you that feedback are not the exact people that you're trying to reach with your content, then that feedback isn't really like it can still be good. And it can still be like, if they're like, hey, the way that you like your tone here, you're coming off like a jerk. Right? Like that's great information. It's like, hey, if somebody tells me that, then it's like, okay, now I can take that information and I can actually do something with that. Right? Let me work on my tone, when I'm in these videos. But you can, use, some parts of that information, but some of it also take it, with a grain of salt because, if it is, other new content creators giving you the advice, they might be giving you advice based on bad advice that they got or something like that. So you gotta be really careful. But what you do want to do though, is you do want to create relationships with other YouTube content creators so that, as you start trusting each other and it's like, yeah, okay, this person, they do seem to know, a little bit or whatever, then, then you can start opening up, sharing some videos and, things like that back and forth and just giving each other feedback. Same thing goes with stats, just kind of comparing, hey, what does your average view duration normally look like on your videos that do well? How many impressions are you getting, on your videos that do well? What's your click-through rate look like? Things like that. So you can start having those conversations, which can then open you up to start seeing, why, one channel might do better, why one video might do better than another video, those types of things. Let's see here. So next up, we're just going to scroll down. When people watch my sketch comedy videos, they tell me that it's funny and subscribe a lot of the time. But what I really have a hard time with is how do I get people to discover my content? So that's going to come down to the topics that you choose to make your comedy about, your sketches. And it's going to come down to your ability to get them to click. So one thing that one person that I recommend that you check out for this, if you're doing sketch comedy videos, is check out Ryan George. If you're not familiar with him already, basically what he does is he makes videos on things that tons of people can relate to. And by doing that, and he's super funny. So by doing that, he's basically optimizing his videos, not for search, not for anything like that. He's optimizing his videos based on people relating to the things that he's talking about. So, like he'll have, like the first guy to, now I can't think of it off the top of my head because my brain's having one of those days, but it's basically like, like the first person to do like, this thing, like just as an example, it would be like the first person to, drink a coffee or, whatever. But basically the idea is that he finds things that, that people just have this commonality, things that everybody, are like, oh yeah, I can totally relate to this. Or, hey, I would like, I like, this has got to be funny just based on the actual topic itself, right? Like the first guy to ever go to jail, I think is one of his videos. But, like when you see that and you see that thumbnail and you see the topic, you're like, oh, what is this? And then you click on it and right out of the gate, he's grabbing your attention. He's funny. He's switching, the camera back and forth between his different characters. And he, like really pulls you into the content. And then he takes you through a story of the, the first person, to ever go to jail, for example. So, just using like a channel like that for inspiration. And once you start watching, a handful of his videos, oh, you watch him already. So then if you're watching him a lot, then also go look in the suggested videos around his videos as well. Because there's a nice handful of people that make similar content and they all do a similar thing. So that approach works really, really well. And I recommend that you use that as inspiration to get attention for what it is that you're doing as well. But here's what you want to do. One, you want to just get a general idea in terms of like, okay, these are the types of things that they're doing, and it relates to people. It's things that people can relate to, or things that people would be like, oh, this is kind of weird. Let me see what this is about. But in addition to that, look at like the style, like how do they open the videos? Like how are they kind of, passing things back and forth between their characters? Like what are all the things that they're doing around their content, and really start making sure that you're applying some of that stuff. But I would study all of those channels, like every one of them. And I would even do things like if I was making that type of content, I would be like, okay, these are the things that all these people are saying when they open the videos. This is how they're leading into their stories, right? Because the way that they structure their stories as they go through their content, it keeps people watching, keeps people engaged. So I would definitely, use them as inspiration, as a study. The Hobbyist says, why would a YouTuber have a huge difference between subs and views? Some of their vids get 0 views, but they have 500 plus subs. Love your vids, by the way. Some videos do well, some videos don't. So basically on YouTube, if a video gets a response in terms of people, clicking on it and enjoying it, then it'll continue to get views. If it doesn't get a response, then it won't get many views. So it can come down to how they're optimizing it. If it has 0 views, that means they're not able to get people to click on it. When YouTube first started giving that video impressions, they just weren't able to get people to click. So then it maintained 0 views. When it comes to the ones that had, 500 plus, oh no, I see. So you said they have 500 subs, but 0 views. Yeah. So that just means that, they had a video or maybe a few videos that did well, or they've been doing it for a long time with a bunch of crappy videos. And over time, they've accumulated 500. But then when they publish content, they just can't get people to click on it because they just haven't learned how to get people to click yet. Let's see here. Great question. Oh man, was somebody clicking on these? All my stuff is grayed out here. Okay. So any tips for transitioning from 1 to 2 videos per week without burning out? This is my first time tuning into a live. Gracias for all that you do. First off, high five, fist bump. Thanks for hanging out in the live stream today. I'm glad that you were able to join us. So if you're transitioning from 1 to 2 videos per week without burning out, first, I just want to say that it's awesome that you're considering burnout and the workload and all that stuff as part of what it is that you're doing, because it's really important for long-term, for everybody that's watching this, for long-term sustainable YouTube channels. you have to manage your brain. So, like with all this stuff, it can be really consuming in terms of your time and your energy. And because of that, like if you just go so hard for like a certain period of time, then you can definitely burn out. But anyway, in terms of any tips for transitioning from 1 to 2 videos per week, the very first thing is don't commit to 2 videos per week yet. If you're worried about burnout. So keep publishing the 1 video per week on like, I'm like, come hell or high water, I'm publishing every single week, right? Have that approach for 1 video. But then for the second video, take the approach of, okay, I'm going to start every other week publishing a second piece of content, and then work that into your lifestyle. Because if you've been making videos for any amount of time, you've noticed that, if you're going to continually put out content on a regular basis, you got to work it into your lifestyle, right? As part of what you do. So because of that, instead of just saying, hey, I'm just going to all of a sudden start doing, 2 videos per week, I would do 2 videos every other week. And then 1 video, basically 1 video every other week, and then 2 videos every other week, so that you can make sure that you can comfortably work it into your lifestyle. After you do 2 videos a week for like, let's say like 2 months, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is no problem, I got this. Then in that case, up it to 3, or take the plunge and go into 4. But the idea is, instead of just going all in and doing it, I would just give yourself a little bit of a cushion so that you ease into it, instead of, just being like, okay, all of a sudden now I just like doubled my workload, doubled the pressure, doubled like everything. I'm going to ease into it a little bit and work it into my lifestyle, and work it into how I do things, to make sure that I can sustainably keep it up for at least a considerable period of time. Let's see here as we keep on going through this list. And there are a few more here that came in that I want to get to as well. Okay, so that one was taken care of. Oops. So let's see here. You wouldn't happen to know. Oh, yeah, we did that one already too. Okay, what would you recommend for growing my storytelling channel for veterans, civilians, and active duty members alike? So for growing your storytelling channel for veterans, civilians, and active duty members alike, one, I would definitely be using if you're doing veterans, civilians, and active duty members, like if it was me, I would actually plug into one of those. Like I would do like veterans, because, if it's a veteran, then in that case, the active duty people will end up being veterans. So then you're still good there. But like, separating civilians and veterans, like if all of your stories are about like service, then in that case, I would make the content for either civilians or for, the military. But like if you do, I'm sure there'll be a lot of crossover there. But at the end of the day, for your storytelling, I'm not exactly sure the stories that you are going to tell. But if it is stuff, about your service or whatever, I would make sure that I'm using that type of imagery in my thumbnails. Make sure that you're being very specific in your title. So instead of saying like, you could, like, I would experiment just for the sake of homepages. I would experiment with like a few videos to where I'm like, this happened when I was like, and I'm just going to use like Vietnam as an example. But it's like, this happened. This is what I was thinking when I was trapped in a bunker in Vietnam, as an example. Like if that was one of your stories, then, trying to pull some attention off the homepage by taking that approach is something that I would try. But being able to pull people into it is going to come down to your ability to use the imagery in the thumbnail to help them identify that it's something service related. And then for the people that are interested in that, and then of course, once they see your thumbnail, then your title. So when they see your title in that particular case, then you want to make sure that, that you try to be as compelling as you possibly can. I would make sure that the most interesting part of that, because if you're a storyteller, then what you want to think of with your title is, okay, I'm basically trying to tell a story within like 50 characters here. You can go over 50 characters, but the 50 characters on YouTube, like they cut off titles around the 50 character mark and different features of the platform. So the most important part of your story from the title perspective needs to be within that first 50 characters. So so whatever your story is about, just try to think like what kind of compelling way can I put this title together, and especially this first 50 characters, to where the imagery is going to help them know that it's service related, but then I'm going to make sure that I'm framing what it is that I'm talking about in an interesting way in order to encourage people to click on it. So like the example that I gave about, I was thinking, this is what was going through my mind when I was trapped, You'd have to workshop this title because it's longer than 50 characters. But like, this is what was going through my mind when I was, trapped in a bunker in Vietnam or something like that. But basically thinking of how you can condense that down to where within that first 50 characters, you got a majority of that. And then of course you can have that overflow if you need it. So that would be the approach, but I would always make sure that the imagery that you're using is service related if your stories are about being in the service.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. D says to check my line, and he says my audio's jacked. Oh, okay. Yep. Got it. Okay. On it, D. On it. Okay. Next. Oh yeah. I got to give this for D super chat. Thanks, D. Thanks, D. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. So, next question that we have here, let me take this down. So Chanda Stagal says, hey Nick, what's up Chanda? Hope you're doing great. Says 1 time per month I teach how to set goals. 3 times a month I share my goal progress. My goals cross niches, fitness, faith, fitness, finance. Where this will make my channel seem unfocused. Thoughts on this? If your channel is about goal setting, technically you would be okay there, but I would, if it was me, I would start the channel and I would start the channel. I would stay focused until I started picking up some like solid momentum to where I could start experimenting on one of the above. So like if you do faith, fitness, and finance, I would pick one and I would just go on that until you start getting momentum. If you're like, hey, now people are watching my videos on a regular basis. I've got like a core community that's enjoying my content. That's where you say, okay, now I'm going to test some fitness content and see if people, respond well to this fitness content. If they do, then, add that to what it is that you're doing. Same exact thing. Once that one, you start getting some feedback there, then test your faith content. So one thing that you can do is just make sure when you are putting everything together in terms of like your value proposition for your channel and you're thinking about what you're offering and who it is that you're targeting. If you're wrapping everything around goals and goal setting, make sure that all of your videos are framed that way too. So it's not necessarily like, like these are, well, if you're doing how to do goals and then you share your goal progress 3 times, then really a majority of your content is going to be you just sharing your goal progress. So people will get some value out of that. But when you're sharing your goal progress, I really recommend that you also mix into it how to set goals with all of the stories that you're sharing about your goal progress. And the reason for that is because when somebody clicks into it, and I would frame it from the outside in terms of your packaging, in terms of your thumbnail and your title, I'd frame it from the outside around some of the suggestions that you're giving in the video. And the reason for that is because then you'll be able to pull people in on the value that they're going to be getting from you, but you're going to be sharing your story. Like you're going to be sharing that value through the story of how you're tracking your goals or the goals, the progress that you're making with your goals. So, so because of that, I would take that approach and I would basically frame everything from the outside on, different aspects of goal setting. And by framing it on the outside, what I mean is your thumbnail and your title to where you make that to where, if somebody sees it and they're interested in goal setting to where they're like, oh, I want to click on this and see this. And then once they come into it, you basically structure the video around it's your goal progress, but then you're also sharing, lessons through, the progress that you're making. So it's like, hey, this is the progress on my goals. But, since, these are the results that I'm getting, they're going great. So because of that, I'm going to modify my goals in this way or, just stay on track or whatever the thing is. But that would be the approach that I would take in that situation. All right. So let's see here really quick. I need to do something here. Oh, that's happening.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Okay. So in 9 minutes, my brother and Daniel Batal are going to, hold on. Let's see. There we go. So, my brother D and Daniel Batal are getting ready to go live on the StreamYard channel, and they're going to be doing channel reviews over there. So on this live stream, like I'm not doing, channel reviews anymore. I'll just kind of open them up, when need be. But I don't do that often because we reserve that for the channel members in our members only group. But if you are wanting to get feedback on your YouTube channel, because I know there was actually a question that came in here earlier asking like, hey, if I want somebody to give me feedback, like where do I get that? So, or how to create those groups, around the feedback. I'm going to drop the link right here. Get your channel reviewed here. And go over to that live stream and hang out in that live stream. And they will basically how they do it is they basically will pick a random person out of the stream. And then when they pick the random person out of the stream, then they have like this spin. It's awesome. Like how they're doing this over there is awesome. They have this like spinny wheel to where they like focus on a specific thing. And then they go in there and they dig into that on your channel. It's pretty cool. But they're going to be starting that stream in like 7 minutes now. So head over there. Make sure that you participate in that stream if you want to get your channel looked at. And for here, I want to, thank everybody that that has participated here in the live stream today, everybody that hung out. Hope that you got some value out of this, out of what it is that we do here. I'm going to go into chill mode. Chill mode is basically to where I just have some music playing in the background while I'm adding like channel members and things like that. And basically just doing some general housekeeping around my live stream after it's, like as we're, kind of slowing everything down here. But as we go into chill mode here, I definitely encourage you to, head over there and get your channel looked at so you can get some direct feedback about your channel. Because here I talk about, all the conceptual stuff. I talk about, some actionable things that you can do to, grow your channel and all that. Over there, it's actually personalized. So, so they're actually looking at the channel saying, these are the things that you need to do better. These are the things that you're messing up on. So I really encourage you to go over there and hang out during that live stream. You'll learn a ton off of those guys when they are, I say those guys like I don't know them. Oh, it's my brother, for God's sakes. But yeah, over off of D and Daniel, you'll learn a ton over there. Even if they don't look at your channel, if you watch them review another channel, open your channel and look at it and be like, okay, this is what they're saying about their channel. How does my channel compare to what it is that they're talking about over there? Fin Dad Chris, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. As always, thank you so much. And like I said before, make sure that you head over there as soon as you possibly can. I'm going to drop the link in here again so you can go hang out over there and get your channel looked at. And now I'm going to go into chill mode again. Thank you so much for hanging out. For everybody that's hanging out here during the stream, thank you everybody that has given a super chat that helps me do this. So thank you very much for that. And I will see you next time. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm just chilling. So we're going to chill mode. And here we go. Chill mode activated. Have a great week. Enjoy your weekend, because I know over there in the States, you guys are, pretty much just getting started. So, enjoy your weekend. Have an awesome Saturday. Enjoy yourselves. Try to be happy. Don't let anything frustrate you this weekend. Just kind of take it easy. Try to relax the best that you possibly can. Have an awesome weekend.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
NLTMW, welcome to the Nimminati. When you get the chance to, go to nimminvip.com. It's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. I'm like, if you do it right now, I can actually add you to the group right now. Just fill out all the information on the way in so that I can verify that you are a member on the way in. Got Phil Starkovic in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Hey, really quick again. Yeah, this is like concurrent. Like Albitastic, I think, is the like highest chatter like of all time. So Albitastic, really quick, I just want to give him a high five and fist bump. He dropped 237 chat messages today. So thank you for that, man. If you're here, Magic Flying Potato, 184, Little Crafty Nook, 153, Doug Hewson, 138, and Drew Project, 116. Thank you guys for being the top chatters today. Hey guys, I'm dropping the in the chat here. The stream is starting right now. The channel review stream. Head over to there. I just dropped it in the chat. They are just getting started right now. It's so fun. And they're looking at channels, but like their show over there is so fun. You want to go check it out. So definitely go check that out. I'm gonna be shutting this down here in like just a little bit. But yeah, definitely go check out their stream. Brian Loft, I am a potato. You know, it's funny that you say that because I am a potato. Like, oops, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I am a potato. I'm a potato. They Mr. Potato Head, I'm sure you've heard of that. Yeah, that's actually my father. And, you know, like, luckily, I'm a potato that's been given a mouth and some eyes and stuff. They kind of messed up, you know, one of my eyebrows, but like they gave me a mouth, eyes, all that good stuff. And, you know, some arms. Like, how many potatoes get to do this, right? Me, I'm a lucky one, right? I get to do that. So yeah, super pumped that I got this opportunity as a potato. I'll be honest. I'm glad I wasn't born a carrot, right? Because that would have been a totally different thing. Like going through school as a potato, not that tough. Going through school as a carrot, though, yeah, you're gonna run into some problems there. So yeah, super happy that I'm a potato. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I wish that too. Like for screen recordings, you know, screen captures, things like that, where I want to drop it into a 4K video, I always have to stretch things out. Yeah, I've got a 4K monitor over there for the music stuff. But for this, yeah, I also wish I wish the same. Yeah, that's true. Super happy I'm not a raisin. Yeah, super happy. Looks like we lost some books down here during the stream. right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Have an awesome rest of your weekend. Have an awesome week. And I will see you next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And of course, in the next video as well. Have an awesome weekend.